Namaskar, good evening. Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran, Directors Kamal and Bharat, Directors-elect Mahesh and Venki, senior leaders, distinguished zonal and district leaders, fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and a warm welcome to each one of you to our Zonal Rotary Foundation Seminar. How time flies. 2020, a year that all of us wished had never happened, is gone. And already 1 month of 2021 is just about over. We are seeing a steady drop in coronavirus cases, and with the vaccination program underway, we are well and truly heading to near normalcy, and 2021 promises to be a good year. Fingers crossed. Since March last year, every major event, be it zonal, regional or international, has been held virtually. The Zone Institute, which was scheduled to be a physical event in Kochi, had to be held virtually. This had an unintended consequence. The Zonal Rotary Foundation Seminar, which is always held as an adjunct event with the Institute, could not be held. And that, my friends, is why we are here today, to celebrate the glory of our foundation and recognize the different ways that our foundation does good in the world. I have at various fora recognized the outstanding Rotary Foundation contributions of our districts in the last Rotary year. Suffice it to repeat that in 2019-20, India was once again number 2 in the world. We began this Rotary year 2021 with much apprehension. The pandemic was and is still with us. Physical meetings continue to be very limited. Clearly, we were beginning the Rotary year with a huge handicap. Would there be a slowing down? Would we be able to surpass the achievement of 1920? Ladies and gentlemen, till end of December 2020, donors have contributed a total of $5.7 million, which is more than what it was for the same period last year. I am confident that we will do very well in 2021, and this in spite of the pandemic. Contributions to Polio Fund, endowments, and other giving, which includes cash contributions, are all up. However, having said that, I must share my disappointment that the figures for annual fund are down in all the 4 zones. This is worrying, and I cannot stress how important it is for all of us to concentrate on annual fund. To place this in perspective, in total contributions, India continues to remain world number 2 for the 5th consecutive year. However, in annual fund contributions, we are constantly at number 4 position for the past 7 years in the list of top giving countries across the Rotary world. Surely we need to change this statistic. While I have given much importance to our contributions, let me not minimize the huge support that our foundation has given to Rotarians for grants. In the full year ending June 2020, that is for 12 months, the total value of the Rotary Foundation grants, both district and global for all 4 zones, was $41.7 million. As a comparison, in the first 6 months of this Rotary year, ending December 31st, already the total value of approved grants in all 4 zones has exceeded $25 million. So today we will hear from donors who have different motivations in giving to the foundation. Some give small amounts to annual fund or polio fund every year and have become major donors or even AKS members. Others give regularly to the endowment. Still others give large sums at one go to become Arch Club Society members. But all have this one unshakable belief that our foundation is the best organization to give to so that it continues to do good in the world. We will also hear from experts on district grants and global grants, and on the importance of the Rotary Foundation's cadre. All of us are committed to serving the underprivileged. Let me end this welcome address with the words of Warren Buffett. If you're in the luckiest 1% of humanity, you owe it to the rest of humanity to think about the other 99%. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for being here. And before I call upon Director Kamal to speak, let me, on behalf of Directors Kamal and Bharat, thank all the speakers for accepting our invitation. And especially, I want to thank Trustee Chair Ravi, who, notwithstanding his very busy schedule, and I can tell you, he is here with us and has made special efforts adjusting his program to be here. Thank you, Chair Ravi. With that, let me introduce our first speaker for the seminar, past Director Kamal Sanghvi, member of the Rotary Club of Dhanbad, DG of District 3250 in 2005 and 6, currently serves as the Director Rotary International for the years 19 to 21. He has been International Training Leader twice. He was RRFC and RPIC. He was DG in 2005 and 6 when I was RRFC. We worked very closely together. In fact, that's when I came to really know him. He was an outstanding governor, and that year, District 3250 raised the record collection for the Rotary Foundation. He's a pioneer of vocational training centers and has helped set up 28 Saheli centers in his district. Kamal is a level 2 major donor and Bequest Society members. All his family members are Paul Harris Fellows. He is a recipient of RI's Service Above Self Award, TRF Citation for Meritorious Service, and Distinguished Service Award. Director Kamal will, in his inimitable motivational skills, talk of our foundation. Kamal, over to you.
Kamal sir, you're on mute.
Thank you, Trustee Ghulam. Today we have the big B with us, the Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran, who has gracefully agreed to address all of us and give directions to all of us. And we have Trustee Ghulam with us, who is going to share all the new policies of Rotary Foundation, which has or is changing over the period of time, considering the challenges which we have had during the year. Yes, we've been through tremendous challenge, but it is absolutely gratifying today to hear the figures from Ghulam, and my resolve and my trust in all the Rotarians of our 4 zones is much more today. And I know each one of you is going to deliver when I heard the figures. And that's what, inspires me to remember the absolute philosophy of Ubuntu, how relevant it has become in this current scenario. This is an African philosophy of Ubuntu, which also reverberates in our Indian philosophy or in the philosophy of Sri Lanka and Nepal together and Bhutan, where it very nicely says that a person is a person through somebody else. So it means that I am because you are. So it's a philosophy which is encompasses the entire culture. It encompasses the dignity, harmony, and humanity, and interest of building and maintaining community with justice and mutual caring. An African philosophy, it's not a philosophy alone, it's a spirituality and an ethics of the African tribe. And so is that same ethics for us in our zone 4, 5, 6, 7, which we hear from our parents and our grandparents, that before you do or before you take, give to somebody else. And that is the ethos of the Rotary Foundation, friends. We all go to the temples in our own cultures, in our own beliefs. But what binds every Rotarian together is this one temple. The temple is the Rotary Foundation, the temple of doing good in the world, the temple which just gives us the face of humanity, the temple which helps us doing good in the world, the temple which helps us make the world more equitable, more sustainable. And that is why, friends, I would always want each one of you, it is important, it is extremely important that we all give to the foundation and in turn enjoy the programs of the Rotary Foundation. When you enjoy the programs of the Rotary Foundation, it only inspires you to give more. So they are going to, a lot of speakers are here, there are a lot of givers. I see Amita here, I see Krishnendu here. They are Arch Club Society members who have given with a difference. So I think they are going to share their stories. It's interesting to learn their stories and understand why did they give to the foundation. I don't need to speak about it. I want, and I'd be most happy to hear to these donors who have given to the foundation and why they have given to the foundation, what good their money has done. And it is this COVID times that you need, invariably people tell that money cannot buy happiness. And I always say that's an absolutely wrong statement. Money definitely can buy happiness. Money can buy happiness for the person who is lame. Your money can buy happiness for someone who does not have a limb. Your money can buy happiness for someone who is homeless. Your money can buy happiness for someone who does not have sight. So money can, and will always buy happiness for people who are less fortunate. And I want this year, I want each one of us here and each one of the Rotarian, go back to your districts, all the governors, governor-elects, governor nominees, the DRFC, go back to the district and tell them their money can get the maximum worth in these times. Your money will turn into godliness. It is on this time when the world is in crisis, is that your money will have real value and it will be multiplied by the foundation to do good in the world. So I want each one of you to dig deep in your pockets. Dig deep in your pockets, because giving never ever reduces anybody's coffers. It does not. It only increases, because every time when you give, you are blessed in return. You are blessed 4 times. So please, I would again want each one of you, do whatever you can. I'm not telling, the Amita can become an AKS, Krishnendu can become an AKS. Maybe you cannot, but you can do what you can. I would want that each one of you go back to your district and ask each Rotarian to be part of this godliness of the Rotary Foundation. Give $100. Fair enough. If you can give $100, give $100. If you can give $26, give $26. But start the process of giving. That is very important, because cumulatively, your money can do wonders in the world. Your money can do wonders through the Rotary Foundation, our temple of joy. So friends, again, I ask each one, and like Ghulam said, we need to put our eye on the annual fund. Because whatever we do, when the money comes to you as global grants, it is through the annual fund. So please, because the DDF, we need to multiply our DDF. So I would want each one of you, every governor, when you get large donors, put part of the large donation into the annual fund, part of it into the polio fund. So why I said polio, because we need to see this battle through. We have pledged to the world, we have promised the world that we are going to rid the world of this malice. That is polio. We are just this short. And let me tell you, friends, there is no better joy than ending the race. And when you end it, you will win the race, because you are getting rid of a disease which is as good as a world war. You have saved so many children. So first of all, I want to congratulate each one of you Rotarians for joining up in fighting this battle across the world and being the second disease in the world to be eradicated. So God bless each one of you for doing this. But continue. Let's finish this battle. Let's make sure that we end the race and end it shortly. We just got 2 more countries left. And I'm sure under the able guidance of Chairman Ravi, we will be going very close to that direction, and probably will be ending it soon. So to end with, I would also like to say this is the time when you can get rid of all your doubts. Get rid of and get knowledge in a seminar like that, because you have such knowledgeable speakers on all fronts, be it global grants, be it foundation giving, be it different modes of funding, be it different modes of taking funds, be it different modes of doing projects. No question is too small. I just want to reiterate, this is the time that you need to ask your questions and understand the magnanimity of the foundation, understand the joy of giving, understand the joy of doing projects. So ask your questions. It is important that you clear your doubts before you get out of this seminar. And this is the opportunity. And I think Ghulam has done this because he's brought every person who's a genius on foundation into this seminar. So ask your questions, clear your doubts so that you are more able and more resolved to give to the foundation and enjoy the fruits of the foundation. God bless each one of you. Take care and stay safe and stay blessed.
Thank by our chief guest, past Rotary International President and Chairman of the Rotary Foundation, K.R. Ravindran.
Past Rotary International President Ravindran obviously does not need to be introduced to us, and yet I would like to tell you a few things you may not know. When last year's President Barry Resin introduced him at the Rotary International Convention in Korea, he closed with the words, "I truly believe that he will be remembered as one of the great presidents of Rotary." That is testimony enough of his performance as president. President Barry further explained how Ravi had brought in a business-like management style to Rotary, seeking productivity, demanding accountability, and emphasizing transparency at the board and at the operational levels. He drove operational costs down by over $2 million and his convention brought in a profit of over $2.5 million. Since completing his term as president, apart from going back to his business, you should know that Ravi has been busy working with several large-scale projects which will bring immense benefits to the people of Sri Lanka. He conferred with the title of Sri Lanka Sigamani, which translates to Jewel of Sri Lanka. Ladies and gentlemen, past Rotary International President K.R. Ravindran.
Okay. Thank you, Ghulam. Thanks for organizing this. Thank you, Director Kamal, for your words of wisdom, words of inspiration. You really haven't left much for me to say because you motivated them and uplifted them. I can't see all of you with this system. I hope there are some people on the other side. I hope that there are some leaders, and I do want to pay my respects to them. I can see the people on this panel, and I see someone who looks like Manoj Desai. I'm not sure whether it is him. Yes, it looks like it is him. But it's good to be here. And let me start with an apology that I have to leave immediately after this. Ghulam arm twisted me into getting it, and since I have very important engagement. But now that I'm here, let me take advantage of this situation to talk about a subject which we don't speak too often. February is a very special month to us. It's a month when Rotary held its very first meeting on February 23rd, and it's now designated as the World Understanding and Peace Day. Therefore, I want to dwell on the subject of peace and our peace centers. Now, I'm aware that this is an area of the foundation which is not too, for want of another word, say popular in our part of the world. We are more interested in our humanitarian program, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it is a pity that we don't pay some emphasis to our peace programs, because I think we should. Because actually, this is the mainstay of our foundation for many Rotarians in the West. In fact, when you take biggest contributors to the foundation, who are the Rotarians of the United States, almost 60% of our annual collections comes from them. A majority of them are most attracted by the prospect or belief that the foundation tangibly contributes to peace in the world. And if not for those big donations to our annual fund, we would not be able to pay out half our global grants for the humanitarian fronts. The program has not only been a catalyst which draws money into our foundation, but has also produced some outstanding alumni who have contributed in a tangible manner in their own way to the cause of peace. Let me give you one example. And when I say that, I'm not suggesting that they stood between two guns and waving a white flag or something. Take, for instance, the island of Mindanao in Philippines. It was plagued for a conflict from 1960. That's almost 60 years, where Christians and Muslims have been at each other. In 2019, Manuela Mott, a Romanian lady from Rotary Club in Washington, spent a month evaluating and processing a World Bank infrastructure investment proposal on the island, because she observed that when you have this type of infrastructure projects to uplift the island, the country, the villagers, this brought to the table both the Muslims and the Christians, and for a moment they forgot about their battles because they both wanted the same thing. What gained the peace building skills that I just spoke about through a peace scholarship at the Duke University in the US. And this year we saw another great example of working for peace through service when we recognized the declaration of a polio-free Africa. Now we applauded the health workers, mainly women, who traveled by car, by rail, by boat, by foot, in fact, by any means to reach children from Abuja to Maiduguri, from Ethiopia to Cote d'Ivoire, from the Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC as they call it, to Ghana with the polio vaccine. But remember, many of these places are riddled with conflicts. I mean, you read about it in the papers every day. And then we celebrated this year the opening of Rotary's 8th Peace Center and the first in Africa at the Makerere University, Uganda. Wow, how far we have come since we first began to wonder whether we could actually build a university devoted to promoting peace, and were getting frustrated because we could not accomplish that. And we realized that constructing a university of brick and mortar, putting up buildings, was way beyond our abilities. And so as the dream gathered dust, one day, then who was the chairman-elect of the foundation was walking along the borders of Northwestern University in Evanston and saw a building on which were emblazoned the name Kellogg School of Business. And he stopped and he looked and he said, why do we need to build this university? We already have it there. We don't need to build it afresh. And then he thought, why don't we establish a school or a center at an existing institution? But the man who got this brainwave was Rajendra Kumar Sabu. The thought germinated in his mind and grew. Raja Sabu shared his idea with the then chair of the foundation, past President Paulo Costa, and then with his own counterpart in the Rotary International side, then President-elect Louis G.I. They consulted another revered past Rotary International president, Bill Skelton, and the boards of Rotary International and Foundation authorized Raja to form a committee to study this, and that action is what resulted in what we now call the Rotary Peace Centers. And if you have a chance, get Raja Sabu to talk to you on this. It's a speech by itself, so I can't go into it anymore, but it's a speech worth hearing. Today, there are 7 such centers in 8 great universities around the world. Why 7 in 8? Because Duke University and the University of North Carolina in the USA share one center, and the others are in Australia, Japan, Sweden, and UK. And so each year, 50 students graduate with a master's degree in peace and development studies from these universities. Now, we may not be able to stop wars, but we are training enough individuals who can be placed in positions who can negotiate a peace. Africa was one continent. We never had a university, but we do now. And we will have 40 students graduating each year from Makereri's new certification programs, which means it's a short-term course, not a master's course. And then another 40 coming out of Chulalongkorn in Thailand. From human rights violations to the impact of climate change, Rotary and Makerere University are offering a postgraduate certificate program to peace and development leaders who are from or who have worked in Africa to address the underlying challenges to peace in the region. And you will agree that there are a hell of a lot of problems within their own region. And it could not have been more timely, for one of the negative effects of the coronavirus was that it has pushed the strife and conflict situation in the world to the background. And Africa itself is a battleground in many places. I recall listening to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, his appeal for a global ceasefire to help combat the coronavirus, and that has largely gone unheeded. Its implications are especially serious for those caught in the midst of conflict, as it seems likely the disease disrupts humanitarian aid flows and limits peace operations and postpones or distracts conflicting parties from ongoing efforts at diplomacy. So our actions to inaugurate the first Rotary Peace Center in Africa could not have been more opportune or timely. You see, my friends, for many, they think that peace is a state in which nothing much happens. There is no conflict, there is no friction. That's their view. For many of us, peace is foreign because we define peace as the absence of any fighting or conflict or war. Yet there are many amongst us who did not know for a long time what the absence of peace is. Let me share with you a story. One sunny morning at the end of June, a van was filled with plastic explosives, I guess, by two suicide bombers and driven straight into the forward command headquarters of the Defense Ministry of the government they hoped to topple. 6 security guards outside the building stopped them at the highly protected compound gate. And the 2 men inside the van immediately detonated the charge at that point. Of course, all 8 were killed instantly by the hundreds of kilograms of explosive charges. The roof of the building was blown off completely. About 15 large houses nearby were damaged, and debris was strewn for blocks. In total that day, 21 people were killed, 175 people injured, including the very young children of the nursery wing of the large girls' school next door. And as I tell you this story nearly 30 years after it happened, what strikes me is that this could have happened in Mumbai, could have happened in Karachi or Dhaka or London or New York. In fact, it can even happen today. Do you know in the last 30 years or so, there have been a total of 4,814 suicide attacks in over 40 countries, killing over 45,000 people. But this one bombing that I am telling you about today happened when the idea of suicide bombings was still very new. It happened in my home city of Colombo in 1991, just before I accepted the office of district governor. When the bomb went off, it shattered windows in my home more than a kilometer away. When my wife heard it, she knew instinctively that it was coming from the direction of our daughter's school. That morning, my daughter Prashanti, then 7 or 8 years old, had fought with her mother that her pencils were not good enough and she wanted an extra 10 rupees to buy new pencils from a school shop. My daughter's thoughts on the day of the bomb, and she hates to talk about it, but when you do talk to her, she says she remembers one moment walking back from the school shop, proudly holding her pencils in her hand, and the next moment being flung to the side, the air filled with sand, her ears ringing, and everywhere around her, children screaming, bleeding, and running. She remembers seeing the roof collapse and all huddled with teachers in the garden, awaiting their parents. Then my wife arrived in the school and brought her back to our home, which was still filled with broken glass, and my daughter's precious dog running around with splinters, glass splinters on his back. That war in Sri Lanka lasted for over 25 years. It killed close to 100,000 people and displaced countless more. And because of it, my children, who are all adults now, grew up thinking of that bombing as just one more of so many bombings that marked their years growing up in Colombo, and that a bomb going off just another occupational hazard. Around the world in the last year, we have seen 76,000 die in Syria, more than 14,000 in Afghanistan, 15,000 in Africa, in the countries of the Boko Haram insurgency. At this moment, there are conflicts ongoing on every continent of the world that displace numbers in the tens of millions. So many children who have lost so much, so many childhoods gone forever. And as we know so well in my own country, the war does not end when the truce is signed. For the people who have lived through it, the effects linger. Financial impact, families that have lost breadwinners, infrastructure that was never built, the resources that were diverted for so many years towards the fighting. And this apart from the trauma in the many memories that none of us ever want to forget. We Rotarians realized long ago that if we still hope for peace, and we do, we cannot wait for others, that others will build it for us. We cannot wait for governments. We cannot wait for United Nations or for cooler heads to prevail. We cannot expect peace to be handed over to us from above. We must build the foundation for it from below, and we are doing it through our peace centers. But do clubs and the individual Rotarians have a role? Of course, apart from financial support, which of course is critical. I don't know how many of you have heard that song written in 1955 by Jill Jackson called Let There Be Peace on Earth. You know, it's sung at every major Rotary event overseas. And the part that tugs me at each time it is sung is the second line, which says, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. You know, as the Chinese philosopher Lao Tse said, if there is peace in the heart, there will be peace in the home. If there is peace in the home, there will be peace between neighbors. If there is peace between neighbors, there will be peace in the cities. If there is peace in the cities, there will be peace in the nations. And if there is peace between nations, there will be peace on earth. So peace begins with us. Each one of us plays a role in building peace in our family, in our workplace, and even in Rotary. Why? Even on Facebook and on Twitter. Yes, even in Rotary. I didn't make that by mistake. How often have you seen conflicts in clubs? The February magazine of Rotary gives a case of Jean Best of Scotland, who had become enmeshed in a conflict with another member of our club. Although she tried to engage with that member to diffuse the situation, the problem persisted. She left the club and joined another where she's very happy. But she hasn't given up on addressing with larger issues. Now I'm looking at conflict resolution in Rotary clubs, she says. And she's got together groups of Scotland clubs who are trying to deal with problems within their clubs. Why don't we take our districts? Half our problems comes because there are conflicts between groups on elections. I mean, I find it hilarious. I once called two past governors who were both in different camps, and I spoke to them at length over a bottle or two of wine and tried to bring about a settlement. One of them agreed. He says, okay, we are done, we move on. And the other one says, no, I will never forget what he did. So I said, so that's your word? He said, yes, I can't forget. He was very bad to me. He was my friend. He didn't, he was on the wrong side or something. So I told him, the next time there's a conference like this where I'm talking on peace, if I ever see you go up on stage and talk about settling the Kashmir conflict or something, I'm going to stand up in the audience and call you a bogus because you can't even settle a problem between two past governors in your own district and you're talking about going to Kashmir. So it is not enough to talk about peace. It must begin with us. It must be enshrined in our actions. It must show in the way we conduct ourselves. This is not to say we must have no disagreement or that we must tolerate insubordination and a breakdown in order. It just means that we must disagree in an agreeable manner and limit our disagreement to that issue and then move on. I try hard to practice that. I was telling a director of the board just about 3 hours ago, they were talking about disagreements. We all know what we need in the world is not division. What we need in the world is not hatred. What we need in the world is not violence, is not lawlessness. What we need is love and wisdom and compassion towards one another. What we need is peace. But we need to work for it. It won't just happen. And that peace must begin with me. That peace must begin with you. That peace must begin with Rotary. And that is why, out of all our programs, our peace centers take such a prominent position. And I hope you will find the enthusiasm to support it. Thank you very much.
Moving, it was informative and inspirational, all at the same time. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. Truly appreciate it.
Hi, Gulam, sir.
I'm going to introduce Dr. Krishnendu Gupta.
You can.
Past President Dr. Krishnendu Gupta has very specialized skills in obstetrics and gynecology. He has many degrees, culminating with his probably the most important one, is Fellow of the Royal College of Gynecologists in London. He is Professor and Head of the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, Vivekananda Institute of Medical Sciences in Kolkata, and is also Professor at Kasturba Medical College in Manipal. He is a member of the Arch Plum Society, a past president of the Rotary Club of Calcutta, Victoria in District 3291. He's a member of the Rotary Foundation's cadre of technical advisors. And to me personally, what was so appealing of Dr. Krishnendu, who is a very, very accomplished doctor, is that he's a very accomplished pianist. And I can personally vouch for this because I saw and I heard him play live at the induction ceremony in Evanston. Dr. Krishnendu, let me invite you to speak on polio eradication, the last mile. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Gulamji, for the very generous and kind introduction. Respected Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindra sir, Directors Dr. Bharat Pandya, Kamalji, past district governors, the galaxy of past district governors present, senior Rotary leaders, fellow Rotarians, ladies and gentlemen. I thank you all for giving me this unique opportunity to address you at this Zonal Rotary Foundation virtual seminar. Getting an opportunity to speak at such a seminar is an honor by itself, but to follow Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran sir is not only a huge honor, but a very tall task indeed. I dedicate this presentation in the memory of my dear parents who are no longer with me. What I am today is because of them, and it is their single most, they have been the single most motivating factor for me. During my school days, I was often taken aback seeing crippled children crossing the road, some forced to beg due to the deformity, which I later got to know was due to the dreaded disease, polio. My first-hand exposure to the perils of polio truly began as a medical student at the Kasturba Medical College, Mangalore, in Karnataka. It was there during our pediatrics and orthopedics postings that we witnessed the devastating effects of this disease on the hapless children who were crippled and the emotional and financial burden on their helpless families. It was truly a very distressing feeling for me and my classmates, with everlasting effects in our minds. Although a lot has been achieved in providing support to the children in form of reconstructive surgeries and other financial benefits by the government of India, as well as the state governments, the true answer is in its prevention. It is because of my association with Rotary that, as a responsible citizen of this great country, all of us present here during this virtual seminar have had the opportunity to do something to prevent this crippling disease. There is a very popular phrase, every drop matters, every drop counts. And as Rotarians, it is our duty to support the Rotary Foundation with as many drops of financial support in this flagship project of Rotary International. Thanks to you all, India this month completed 10 years being polio-free since the last case of polio was reported. Africa is now thankfully declared polio-free. So is the rest of the world, except for two countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan, with 56 and 84 cases respectively last year. That brings a total of 140. What is even more alarming is that both these countries are extremely close to us. We're also aware that this polio-free status can only be sustained through high-quality immunization programs and campaigns, improved surveillance systems, unless the disease is globally eradicated. Whatever has been achieved in India and worldwide to eradicate polio till date is because of your concern, your efforts, your sacrifice, your perspiration, your hard work, and of course, your kind benevolence. This has converted a dream, a vision, a challenge into a reality. It is all of you who have brought about this miracle. But we cannot afford to relax. We need to stretch ourselves a bit more, keep up the tempo, and face the last mile running. On a personal front, thanks to the current and dynamic district governor of my beloved District 3291, Rotarian Shudip Mukherjee, DRFC, past district governor Aniruddha Roy Chaudhary, and district trainer PDG Angshuman Bandyopadhyay, and the core team, I was given a very good opportunity to be the keynote speaker during the District Foundation Seminar on 29th of November last year. On the topic entitled Joy of Giving, highlighting the reasons what motivated me to become an Arch Clump Society member. And despite my commitment to the endowment fund that I've created in my parents' name and my passion to prevent cervical cancer with HPV vaccination, sensing the intense focus of Rotary International and millions of Rotarians striving to end polio now, we are this close. On behalf of my family, I made an impromptu pledge of a humble amount of $5,000 after the end of the presentation. My lifetime giving towards the Polio Foundation, towards the Polio Plus Fund is a little over 30,000. And that is where the magic of TRF comes in. With the help of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, that 30,000 odd has become 90,000 odd to help eradicate this disease. And this is what I call is the multiplication magic of TRF at its very best. From a personal experience, I've seen it with my parents. They used to give humbly, they used to give quietly. I can only say that if you dream big and you are convinced about that dream, no matter what people may think, they may say it's stupid, whatever, pursue it to its end. Kamalji said, we have to finish the race, we have to win. And also remember that one does not have to be a billionaire, a millionaire, multimillionaire, etc., to become an AKS or contribute to the Polio Plus Fund. Yes, I definitely agree that you must have some amount of wealth, surplus wealth, to keep aside for this. But it is the wealth deep within you which is the key. You just have to have the conviction, the heart, and the dum to do so. It is said, giving is one of the best investments one can make towards genuine happiness. True giving comes from the heart, with no expectation or reciprocation. Give quietly, give discreetly. No drama is required. Just do it. You will find that the more you give, the more you will receive. And I'm a living example of that. The joy of giving starts with you. And with folded hands, I implore to all of you to contribute handsomely to the Polio Plus Fund, to complete the last mile to eradicate polio, not running, but sprinting. As Trustee Chair K.R. Ravindran during the summit said, the Institute said, we all must write something new, something significant. We are all here to have this unique opportunity to make history. I'll end with a very famous quote of Sir Winston Churchill, who said, we make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. So my friends, please donate generously to the foundation. Ensure that we are the ones who write history and eradicate polio from the face of the earth. My grateful thanks again to TRF's Trustee Chair Ravindranji, Gulamji, Bharatji, Kamalji, and all the senior Rotary leaders present here for this unbelievable opportunity and bestowing this honor on me. Take care, stay safe, happy giving. God bless the Rotary Foundation. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you very much, Dr. Krishnendu, for that wonderful presentation. You know, we are into our section 2, which is be part of Rotary forever. Dr. Krishnendu was the first speaker. We will now move from giving to receiving. And we have with us past District Governor Madhukar Malhotra, who is a member of the Rotary Club of Chandigarh since 1979 and has served in all positions of the Board of Directors before taking over as president in 89-90. And then, given his skills and his talents, became district governor in 2010 in 11. He has held a variety of assignments at the district level. His expertise is grants, and he has served as district grants chair, DRFC, and district stewardship chair for 3 years or more in each position, and has again been persuaded to accept the appointment as stewardship chair for 21-22. Past Governor Madhukar is recognized as an expert on district grants, and he will elaborate on engaging with local communities through district grants. Over to you, past District Governor Madhukar.
Thank you, Trustee Gulam. Good evening, friends. The topic assigned to me this evening is district grants. And as the time allocated is only 10 minutes, let's get going. Can we show the slides on district grants? Now, district grants fund small projects, activities that meet the needs of your communities and possibly in overseas areas also. Funding 50% of the district, next slide, 50% of the district contributions made to the annual fund 3 years earlier are available as DDF to a district, and the district can use up to 50% of that, including endowment fund earnings, to fund the district grants. Of course, to be able to participate in any foundation program, the district has to be qualified, as also the club. For district grants, a district can only make one application, combined application for all the amounts that they want to use for district funds. It's not necessary to use all 50%. It all depends on how you place your grants. A grant application can be submitted after approval by the district governor, DRFC, and district grants chair. However, payment can only be received after the previous district grant is closed. This is important and becomes a problem in many districts. A proper procedure for disbursement and progress on project execution is important. A financial management plan should be put in place to ensure proper administration and execution of grants. Now, what kind of projects can you take up under district grants? Now, district grants give you, can we go to the next one? Yeah. District grants can be used for a much wider range of activities, even outside the 7 areas of focus. I will not go into the 7 areas of focus because the global grant person would be doing that. And they're not required to meet other conditions such as sustainability, which can become a handicap. Of course, there is no matching for district grants. So that you have to keep in mind, that there is no multiplication factor that you can get in district grants, like you can get in global grants. Now, typical projects in our zones that our clubs take up are humanitarian projects like water, sanitation, literacy, environment, tree plantation, medical camps, etc. You can also have youth program. You can also fund youth programs like RILA in organizing those, Rotary, Interact, Rotary Youth Exchange, New Generation Exchange programs. You can use district grant funds for grant management seminar. That's normally, instead of having a delegate fee, it will ensure better attendance of specified delegates. You can also use district grants to conduct community assessments for a project. These days, for every global grant project, you need to have a community assessment, community needs assessment done. You can use for scholarships and VTT, including scholarship and VTT orientation when that is there. I do not know whether many districts have scholarships these days, but VTTs, of course, are being used. Can be used for fund construction, construction and renovation, say low-cost shelters, schools, hospitals, which is not allowed under the global grants. Projects can also be funded in other districts in the country and overseas, even in countries which do not have Rotary clubs. And of course, there are restrictions, and the restrictions are by and large common to global grants. No purchase of land or building funding, no fundraising activities to be funded through your district grants, funding of district conferences, anniversary celebrations, or entertainment or intercities is not allowed. Cash donations are not allowed. Reimbursement of cost incurred before sanction of district grant. Now, this is another area which comes a problem, because once a club submits a district grant application and the district governor tells him, or the DRS tells him, yes, it is included in the program. But if the previous grant is not yet cleared and the club starts that project, you're in trouble, because anything which is dated before the date of the sanction is not allowed to be reimbursed. PR initiatives are not allowed. Indirect program expenses are not allowed. Now, I've given very briefly, and since we were running late, I've gone through it quickly, but if anybody has any questions, you're free to write to me, ask me. Do visit the Learning Center on the grants portal for a more detailed narrative that will help you clarify your doubts more. Feel free to contact me for any clarification, doubts, etc. Can you put the slide with my number and email there, please? The last one. Yeah. So thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about district grants. And the subject is simple, but it is vast, and there are many pitfalls that you need to keep a track of. And I think I've tried to highlight that portion. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for listening to me. Thank you, Trustee Ghulam. Bye.
Thank you, Past Governor Madhukar. Really exhaustive. I know the time you can speak for 1 hour on this subject, and that will not be enough. But I would hope that people who have a query know there is an expert sitting there waiting to be asked, and I'm sure you will help and explain whatever they need to. Thank you very much. We are now moving back to donors, and I have very great pleasure in introducing Rotarian Vikram Reddy, who's the member of the Rotary Club of Hyderabad Deccan. He has a great philanthropic vision and has been ardently promoting and supporting the endowment fund of the Rotary Foundation. He is an Arch Clump Society member of our foundation and continues to support TRF programs. Not only is he a regular and a generous donor, he also motivates others to give to the foundation. I met him a few years ago in Warangal at a TRF meeting, and it was such a pleasure to meet him and talk to him. I know that you will enjoy his presentation on strengthening Rotaries tomorrow. Over to you, Rotarian Vikram.
Namaskar, dosto. Sir, thank you very much for the sweet and crisp introduction. Today's topic is strengthening Rotaries tomorrow. Every organization we represent or we run has two key essentials. One is the zeal of the employees, and the second is the value system through which that company creates its products and services to be marketed for eternity. Having said so, this Rotary is also in the business of generating smiles around the communities within the humanity. Now, the brand Rotary is recalled and remembered by various sections of people for different reasons. For example, a section of people may remember and recall Rotary for the great fun and frolic which they enjoy with the acquaintance of plethora of new acquaintances, which may foster into a bondage friendship or a period of time. There will be a second set of people who will be thankful for the organization called Rotary for making them a part of an army which serves the humanity. Then there is a third set of people who revere the Rotary for giving them an opportunity to ensure that every hard-earned rupee which they earn is put to divine service. Having said so, often I am posed with a statement, sir, giving is good, but not giving is not bad enough. So I countered them with a situation. Imagine you are walking, you are taking a stroll along the shores and observe someone drowning and need to be helped. Then there are three situations invariably arise at this juncture. One is someone rushing there, peeling off valuables from his or her body like your watch, goggles, maybe shoes, belt, and then taking plunge into the water and bringing him out. Then there is a second type of people who not bothering about anything what they are wearing, just take a jump into the water and escort him out. Then most important, there's a third set of people who would like to perch themselves at vantage points and keep recording the phenomena in mobile phones so that they can put it in their WhatsApp or Facebook account to make it viral. Now, I keep telling you, in these three scenarios, analyze what are you, number one, and have an ambition, where you want to be, and walk through that road. That will be my answer. Then the second question is, how much to give? And I always say that giving more effectively is better than just giving more. And fortunately for us, in this part of the world, every kind of scripture defines the act of giving. And one such definition is from Bhagavad Gita, which is just 32-letter verse, which says that Datavyam yiti yad danam diyate anupakarine deshe khale cha patre cha taddanam satvikam smrutam. The meaning is that when you direct your charity to a group of people who are in need of it at a right time, at a right place, and more importantly, not expecting anything in return, knowing very well that they cannot return you back anything, then that act is considered as an act of giving. Now, keep that principle next to the Rotary. What is that we are doing? The Rotary Foundation is exactly doing the same by assessing the need of a community and directing the right amount of money at the right time to have the maximum beneficiaries more effectively, ensuring that your money will walk through a long mile to reach a golden mile. And the job is being done by Rotary. We need not bother about it. Then see the corollary of this definition, act of giving. Adesha kale yaddanam apatrebhyascha diyate avaskrutam avagnatam tattamasa mudahrutam. The meaning is, if you give a donation for the wrong person at the wrong time for unreasonable acts, in fact, this may lead to a verge of committing a sin. Now again, put it next to our Rotary principles. Many of the times, few of the projects will not be approved at our club level or at our board level itself. Then there are a lot of filters set in to reach the global grant level. So that means there is a set of professionals, rather legends of Rotarians with high conscience who is working and taking care of your money to take it a long walk. Hence, it is always appreciated that if we put our hard-earned money through the Rotary Foundation. In fact, if you see, the Rotary Foundation always puts in a recipient and elevates him to the highest altars of the human values, making him smile blissfully for eternity. Now, if we can take this kind of view and thought process through our Rotarians into the communities around us, I am sure the organization Rotary will be converted into a movement called Rotary, which then transforms itself into a way of life wherein that secures and that strengthens our tomorrow rather than we taking care of Rotary's tomorrow. Now, I rest my case by thanking all of you. Thank you very much. Namaskar.
Thank you, Rotarian Vikram. Much appreciated. You brought in so much of the shlokas along with your motivational message, and I thank you. Let's move now to past Governor Sam Patibandla. Joined the Rotary Club of Jubilee Hills in 1991. He was governor of District 3150 in 2006 and 7. He was RPIC in 14-17 and then immediately became Endowment and Major Gifts Advisor from 17 to 20. He was International Training Leader in 2019 and he was Rotary Leadership Training Institute Facilitator in 2017 and 18 and then became the lead facilitator in 2019. He was also the lead facilitator at the EMGA Training Institute in 2020. Sam is a Paul Harris Society member, a second-level major donor, and a Bequest Society member. He has received RI's Service Above Self Award and the Rotary Foundation's Distinguished Service Award. Sam is a friend I can always count upon, and he will speak on Bequest, my commitment to our foundation. Over to you, Sam.
Dear friends, good evening. Thank you, Ghulam, for those kind words and for the opportunity to be a part of this today's Rotary Foundation seminar. Friends, I'm a Rotarian from 1991, almost 30 years. And I always say this with pride and joy and enjoy saying that. I know many of you are Rotarians for many, many years. Why? Why we continue as Rotarians year after the year for so many years? You know why? Because we enjoy Rotary. We enjoy meeting people. We enjoy making friends. And we enjoy that real happiness of helping others. And Rotary Foundation, our Rotary Foundation is the one helping us to help others. So friends, it is our job. It's our responsibility to see that. Sorry about that. It's our responsibility to see that our Rotary Foundation remains strong, and it's our responsibility to see that our Rotary Foundation remains healthy such that foundation will be able to help clubs conduct our community service projects for the years to come. And friends, as just now Trustee Gulam has said, I was the EMGA from 2017 to 2020. And during that time, I had the opportunity to be in touch with many Rotarians who are so generous and who have come forward with major gifts like $50,000, $100,000, $250,000 like that. I was really inspired. I wanted to make a gift myself. I wanted to give a major gift. My checkbook is ready. I have a pen in my hand. You know, there is a problem. You know the problem. I don't have that kind of money. You know, what I can afford is about $1,000 a year to contribute to the Rotary Foundation. That's why I have become a member of Paul Harris Society of my district. And every year I contribute about $1,000 or a little more. And now I have come to a level of $32,000, that is second level major donor. But I wanted to give more. Then I have realized I can afford to make a major gift after some time. In the due course. When is that? What does it mean? I explain it to you. I have a house that I reside, which was built in 1991. And through the years, the asset value has gone up so much. When I sell the house, I can afford to give a major gift, but I can't sell it now. That can be done after me. When I'm no more, I don't need the house. I have 2 daughters and both are living their own houses. So when I sell the house, I can afford a major donor. So it's good. Sounds good, right? But who will sell the house when I'm not there? Who will give a major gift when I'm not there? Friends, luckily we have a provision and that in our Rotary Foundation. I can bequeath. Rotary Foundation accepts the bequest. I can bequeath an amount in my will and I can become a member of the bequest society. That's what I did. I have written a will which says out of this 1,75,50,000, that day's rate of 71 per dollar, rupees 71 per dollar, it is $250,000, will go to Rotary Foundation. After my death, I have written it in the will. Looks simple, right? But it's not. I explain you how I did it and how I have proceeded it. In early 2019, one day it happened to be both my daughters, son-in-laws, and me. We were at one place. So I thought this is the time to talk to them. I grabbed the opportunity. I asked them, guys, you sit down. Let us sit down for 10 minutes. I want to talk to you. And I told them what my plan is, what I wanted to do. They all said, Dad, you do what you like to do. We know how passionate you are about the Rotary. There's no need to explain it to us. Then I told them, no, what I'm planning to do, I need to explain it to you because you are the guys going to implement it, going to take care of this, going to fulfill my wish when I'm not there. They all said, yes, friends, that is how it can be done. A bequest society can be done. So in that will, I have put it and I put the bequest to the Rotary Foundation. And my wish is an endowment fund to be formed. An endowment fund to be formed with that amount. And the proceeds will go, 50% of the proceeds every year will go to the district as DDF, and my club is the beneficiary. And they will have a project every year or once every 2 years, 3 years, depending on the money, in one of the areas of the Rotary Foundation. This is how it started, my friends. It's all it started. It's a great feeling. It's a great feeling to know that you will be a part of foundations doing in the world beyond your lifetime. It's a great feeling to know that your legacy is maintained forever. Forever and forever, it will be maintained. And each one of you can have that experience. It's very easy. You can start a bequest. You can start a bequest with a minimum of $10,000. One way in India, there are 2 ways that are allowed. One is through the will, just now I have explained. Other way is through a life insurance policy, which is fully paid. But that's an expensive way. A life insurance policy of about 30 lakhs fully paid for someone who is about 50-year-old is costing about 9 lakhs. It is very expensive. So the best way is to go through the route of a will. So each one of you can do that. For more details, what are the benefits of a Bequest society? What are the various levels of recognition in the Bequest society, and how you go about it? You can talk to your EMGA, your RRFC, ARRFC, DRFC, or any one of them, or I'm always available for you to share my experience. Friends, thank you very much, and good evening. Thank you. Bye.
As always, thank you, Sam, for that very lucid explanation of your Bequest Society. Thank you. So we are now coming to the end of session 2. And before we move on to session 3, let's have a brief interlude with the Rotary song. Can we have the Rotary song, please?
Hear the people cry. Have you asked and wondered why? Can you feel their sorrows and their pain? Deep within our hearts and soul, we can answer everybody's call. Our helping hands will raise them up again. We are called upon to serve, service above self, working hand in hand together, we shall stand. We have one hope, one dream, one voice we bring to everyone. Together we lend our hand as true Rotarians. The joy we bring, happy people call our name. To the world we do most everything. Deep within our hearts and soul, we can answer everybody's call. Our helping hands will raise them up again. We are called upon to serve, service above self, working hand in hand together, we shall stand. We have one hope, one dream, one voice we bring to everyone. Together we lend our hand as true Rotarians.
So we have now come to the end of session 2 and we will begin session 3. Before I introduce our next speaker, that's past President Ravi Shankar Dakoju, I just wanted to share with you interesting statistics and facts. I don't know if you're aware that India has the second highest number of Arch Plum Society members in the Rotary world. And is also, India is ranked world number 2 in terms of named endowments. So we continue to be very, very high up on the ladder in terms of our foundation recognition goes. Let's keep it up. Maybe we'll narrow the gap between us and the United States soon. Let's begin with introducing our next speaker, my very good friend, past President Ravi Shankar Dakoju, who only thinks big. Hence, he's straight away committed to donate 100 crores. He has been an honest advocate of the philosophy of giving back. Giving back to the city he was born in, giving back to the society, community, giving back to Mother Nature. He is committed to educating poor children in different parts of the country and to the environment. He has also built an old age home in memory of his parents. Apart from these, he is a firm believer of the concept of a borderless world. He is married to Paula, a staunch Catholic, and he has 2 Muslim Rakhi sisters, which he is really very proud of. Past President Ravi Shankar, as I said, is a good friend, and he will speak on Get High on High Giving. Over to you, Past President Ravi Shankar.
Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Rotary District 3190. Good evening, everyone. Greetings from Rotary District 3190. I'm not a good speaker, very poor in statistics, as TRF is full of statistics, targets, and projections. Sorry. Mine is a human side of TRF. My very dear friend, PDG Avinash Mahendra from Amritsar, he was the chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, sent me a greetings recently that says, the person who risks nothing, does nothing, has nothing, is ultimately nothing and becomes nothing. He may avoid suffering and sorrow, but he simply cannot learn and feel and change and grow and love and live. Leo Buscaglia. What a beautiful thing. If you understand these verses from my friend Avinash Mahendra, you know how insignificant we can become if we are not human beings. Human beings is just not living and having life in our body. Mine is a human side, as I said, of TRF. Recently, I was in Devgarh, a beach town in Sindhudurg district, Maharashtra. There, I was with my co-AKS member, Rotarian Uday Palani from 3150. His friend, Ravindra Agrawal, while sitting for lunch, he was surprised to see me. And he was excited to see me in person. He said, "I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know you were there. Can I ask you one question?" So I said, "Ask me. I have nothing to hide. I'm a transparent man. Ask me any question." So he said that he's the MD of Duke Biscuits, one of the biggest manufacturers of biscuits in India. He asked, "So did you?" It was a very nice question, you know. I was really impressed. I was impressed with the honesty. He looked into my eyes. "Have you ever regretted for having what you committed, a huge amount of donation?" The one I said, "Sir, there are two answers to this. You are one single question. One is huge amount," you said. I don't think huge amount, because there are millions of people in India who are much, much richer, filthily rich, and they don't give. So that is not among me. And the second point is, you said, who said, did I ever regret? I said, not even for a second. In a way, this March, April this year, 2020, I was got into little depression, 1 or 2 months, in fact. Not because I committed, I corrected that. I said, because I was under tremendous pressure because COVID. In case I die, then will my family, my daughter and my 2 daughters and my wife will be able to collect the amount what I'm supposed to receive and clear the commitment I've made. This was the only conflict I had, the stress I had, but never did I regret. That's something which I'm very and which I'm very, very proud of. And I said 85% is good enough for me, and 85% committed for donation. Other 15% good enough for me, as Sam was telling, bequeathing. And when you know the vision and you walk the talk and you make it. And the second question he asked, he forgot to have his lunch, Ravindra Agrawal. He said, what did your daughters say about your giving? I said 2 things. From childhood, they were taught about the philosophy of giving back, because my father, who gave away the entire family wealth to Bhutan movement and while freedom struggle, and I said I want to look into my father's eyes and say, I have followed your path. So commitment was there. In fact, my eldest daughter, Ekta, even said, "Nana," I'm in Telugu, she calls me Nana as for father. She said, "Nana, if I ever get the house what we are living, she blatantly said, say, I'm okay, I'm educated, I would sell the house, and build schools in Kashmir. And because I have been talking about building schools in Pakistan as a goodwill gesture, and Lahore in particular, but he said, no, I will build in Kashmir because the children need it. That's in the blood. That's in my DNA. My father gave, I'm giving, my children are giving. That's exactly I said. What do you do? See, he also asked me, I said one more question. Why did you donate 85%? Ravindra Agarwal said. I said, what do you do with the excess wealth? Can you even take 1 rupee with you? When you die, can you take even 1 rupee with you? I also said, if you amass wealth more than what you need, actually, and for second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and indiscriminate collection of funds, I think you're collecting poison for your future generation. The future generation, children, grandchildren will not have the passion to grow, because you already made everything and they're finished. And my Rotary Guru, PDG Suresh Hari, I asked him when Shakuntala Raha called me the other day, so what is the title you want to give for your talk? I was a little confused. I called up Suresh Hari. So what is the title I can give? He said, okay, giving till it hurts. Then I thought about it. That's exactly everybody talks. Give until it hurts. If you don't give it, if you're giving comfort, there's nothing great. Give until it hurts. I think they're not Rotary. Rotary won't think that way. If somebody is talking that give until it hurts, it is not a Rotary philosophy. Suresh Hari himself said, in Rotary, we always believe in family first. Second is profession. Third is Rotary. If you want to if you start hurting your family, hurting your profession, then you're not a Rotarian. So I said, no, sir, it's not work, it's not Rotary philosophy. I said, think big, give big, and also don't hurt and give a percentage of your wealth. So I'm not saying to give like me 85%, this and that. Make it a habit to give some portion of your wealth. In fact, I was a social drinker. I'm a social drinker. Alcohol is not a forbidden thing for me. And I used to drink a bit before. When I came forward to donate, the kind of high I got, donating big and taking up big projects, giving back to Mother Earth, city, thanking the society for making me whatever I am. That was a high, and no alcohol could match that high. So I am not very fond of this. The kind of high I am getting from giving and doing big sustainable project, which is happening through TRF, is something great. And that's why I said, get high and giving high giving. And Suresh Hari agreed with that. And now I've decided 3 points, which I'm following very passionately now. That is, I want to work hard, earn more, and give more. I want to donate more than what I've committed to TRF. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Past President Ravi. As always, you speak straight from the heart, and really one is very grateful. Thank you. Let me share some interesting information. Again, I mentioned something about the AKS members. We were number 2 in the world. District 3141 is the world number 1 district in terms of total AKS members. I think this is interesting that although as a country we are number 2, District 3141 is number 1. Also, my own club, the Rotary Club of Bombay, in November 2020, became the first club from India to cross $5 million in cumulative giving to the Rotary Foundation. It is the highest contributing club in India And in the world rank, it is 6th in terms of cumulative contributions to the foundation. That's just by way of information. We are now going to switch from giving to grants again. And I am very happy to introduce to you past President Ambalavanan, member of the Rotary Club of Madras Midtown District 3232. As the president of the club during 1617, that was the Rotary Foundation centenary year, he conducted a 4,500 kilometers cycle rally involving 19 RI districts from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. And this rally was supported by the Swachh Bharat Mission, Ministry of Urban Development, Government of India, and also 25 municipal corporations along the way. He's a level 4 major donor to the Rotary Foundation, and as District Rotary Foundation Committee Chair of RI District 3232, in the last 18 months, the district has achieved $1.8 million in total TRF contribution and has 37 global grant projects that are approved or submitted with a $4 million project value. Past President Ambalavanan is an expert in global grants, and he will address us on global philanthropy through TRF's global grants. Over to you, Amba.
Thank you, Trustee Gulam, for the nice introduction and the opportunity given. Good evening, friends. You can start the slide, please. Global grants truly fosters global philanthropy, supports large, sustainable, measurable outcomes in the areas of focus that addresses real community need through global partnership. Truly helps in Rotary's vision statement, unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe in our communities and in ourselves. Addresses the mission statement of the foundation, advances world understanding, goodwill and peace, in improvement of health, supporting education, and alleviation of poverty. Yes, as per the 1819 Global Grant Evaluation Survey summary, disease prevention and treatment has the highest number of global grant approvals and total award amounts each year. Basic education and literacy ranks as the #1 priority cause to support, and community economic development is the #2 preferred cause to support. Next slide. We'll talk about global grant eligibility. Community assessment results is mandatory to the global grant applications. Within the 7 focus areas, the latest policy statement has been released the first week of January that includes the newly added supporting environment, minimum project size of $30,000, and no match for the cash contributions. World Fund matching requirement is from nil to $400,000. Next slide. With a minimum of 15% as the international contributions. There are no deadline dates. The clubs has to be qualified as per these points mentioned here. No conflict of interest, and as per restrictions of the grants, terms and conditions. Next slide. Let us see the trends in the global grant activities. Last year, as Gulam had mentioned, India was #2 in the total contributions at $20.5 million and #1 in other funds at $10.7 million, which is towards global grants and directed gifts. We are #1 in the world in both giving and receiving towards global grants. Another interesting aspect you can see here is Korea, Japan, and Taiwan are strong annual fund donors and comparatively less towards the global grants. We now know where to reach out for the unused international DDF to support our global grant projects. Next. Our contributions formed nearly 25% of the worldwide contributions towards other funds. Next slide. In the last 5 years, as you can see, the global grants contributions has increased 3 times, while the annual fund has been steadily declining. Next. We are the leaders in executing global grant projects. 412 out of 1,359 approved projects. Project value-wise, it is nearly 40% of the total. In our 4 zones, the number of projects approved has increased from 302 numbers to 412 last year. In the last 7 months, 303 grants have been approved. Next slide. As you can see here, these are the grants approved for the last 6 months, that is July to December 2020. Nearly 76% of the projects approved were in the area of disease prevention and treatment, mainly due to the COVID-19 projects. Rest of the 5 focus areas saw only about 24% of the projects approved. So you will know where the areas for improvement next year will be. Next slide. Why are global grant projects are so popular? These are projects of pride that are long-lasting, impactful, high on value, and stewardship. Experts review helps in project design. The DRFC team, technical cadre, regional grant officer, area focus managers are ready to help you in this. Easier funding. On an average, 40% of the funds come from the foreign cash, DDF, and world funds. And balance 60% are easily raised as donors see valued projects happening before their eyes within the next few months. Contributions earn Rotary recognition points. It improves the public image of the club. Next. What are the key result areas we adopted in our district? We find global grant is the only easy option available to reach committed targets to TRF. We had 4 key result areas and strategies to inspire our clubs to take up global grant program, which made everybody's life easy in meeting their TRF goals. First, more impactful projects by focus on the community need assessment. We had expert organizations and trained Rotaract students to conduct these assessments. Rating of the projects. A 5-scale rating on various aspects of a project, such as impact, stewardship, public image, budget, and number of beneficiaries and others. Our district's current year project Orange, providing 103 vision centers, which has been approved so far, that cures avoidable blindness, was designed based on this. And projects that are life-changing and life-saving, like the COVID-19 projects. Number 2 is to aim at quicker project approvals, achieved by following 10 aspects of submitting great global grant applications, which we will see shortly. And third is aim for 100% approvals of the project submitted by doing pilot projects and having preliminary review done by the grants officer early in the project. And fourth is involving more clubs to do more global grant projects by converting club projects into global grant projects, more clubs jointly funding along with the host club, providing these clubs with a very simplified flow charts and check sheets so that it's easy for them to go through the entire 12-step process. Next slide. We will now see the 10 aspects of a great global grant project application as per A.B. McNear, the Director of Grants Program. First, request a preliminary review with the Regional Grants Officer on eligible project activities during the early stage of the project. Number 2, consult your grant resources at Rotary.org. Grant Center as the online grant application with all the reference links such as Guide to Grants, Grants Terms and Conditions, and more information are available in the Learning Center. Relevant slides related to grant management seminar is available. Point number 3, describe your community assessment in detail, which is very important. involve the community and all the stakeholders, assess the needs and challenges, strengths, assets of the community. Fourth point, have a right project goal. Rotarians should ensure their project falls within the foundation's area's focus goals as outlined in the policy statements. These are big goals, but often applicants have much smaller goals in mind. For example, to provide furnishings for a community center. District grants are ideal for those kind of projects. Ensuring that your project aligns with one of the foundation's bigger goals and that you have completely thought through how to achieve it is the key to securing global grant funding. Next slide. Provide a detailed project activities to achieve each of the goals. Use 5 whys to arrive at the root cause of the problem. Use 4-way test, cause and effect diagram, failure mode effect analysis for a better stewardship. Rotarians often want to help an excellent organization. They run into a challenge when their projects are just a list of things the organization needs. Projects involving schools, for example, frequently include equipment. However, the focus of the global grant project should be improving the learning outcomes through professional development of the teachers. If your school project is primarily focused on providing equipment, sorry, it won't be eligible for the global grant funding. Explain the Rotarian involvement with their role. It's very important. The foundation looks for this information, how you engaged your Rotarians in this project. It's not that one person just doing the project. Point number 7, provide itemized budget. Start with the zero-based budgeting and not with the goal to reach a minimum of $30,000. Try and use the asset and strengths of the community to encourage local funding. Spend that extra dollar only when absolutely necessary. Have an optimal budget to achieve the goal. Have a detailed Excel working sheet to give the unit of measure and rate of products or the services provided. Explain the sustainability plans, which is very important. That's what foundation looks for, this aspect. Starting with the community, encourage local ownership, provide training, buy local, find local funding, measure your success. Point number 9, include the filled up standard MOU with the cooperating organization template that shows the stakeholders' roles and responsibilities to run the project with desired outcomes well after handing over the project. Point number 10, provide the complete answers in the community assessment result form and in the global grant application. Next slide. Next slide. Next. 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 How to make projects, that is global grant activities, a part of your club's DNA. Form a grants team for long term. Keep ears and eyes open for the trigger for a great service project. Do pilot projects to test before your global grant projects. Discuss your project ideas with the DRFC team and the technical guard well before you have started planning the project. Nurture annual funding, which is the savings for the future global grant project funding. Give small contributions to other approved global grant projects, both local and international. Let us use the global grants to the best of our efforts to do good in the world and to be a real gift to the communities we serve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amba, for that very exhaustive session on global grants. Appreciate that. And I'm sure you will be always available to assist anyone who needs your help. Thank you. We are now moving. discussion on the joy of giving. And to moderate this very, very interesting panel discussion, I couldn't think of a better person than my friend, Director-elect A.S. Venkatesh, or more popularly known as Venki. He is an engineering graduate from the prestigious IIT Madras and MBA, postgraduate in business administration from IIM Ahmedabad. He is a member of the Rotary Club of Chennai, Mambalam, of RI District 3230, and he became DG in 2007 and 8. He has been Rotary coordinator, training leader at the International Assembly for 2 years, as well as a trainer for all coordinators from around the world at Chicago for 3 years, 2014 to 17. He is a level 3 major donor to the Rotary Foundation with a personal contribution of over $50,000, and all his family members are Paul Harris Fellows. As I mentioned, he is our incoming director, and he will be director for the period 21-23. And along with Venki are the panel members, and I would like to introduce each of them to you. Let me first go on to Amita Mohindru. She is immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Delhi City, educated in Mumbai, and then shifted to Delhi after a marriage to Captain Anil Mohindru. She has a strong conviction to serve the underprivileged people in need in whatever capacity, either individually or as a team member. Local issues such as literacy and water conservation are areas which are close to her heart. Amita became a Rotarian in 2018, although she has been an active Rotarian since 1997 after her husband became a Rotarian. Amita was the first lady president of Rotary Club of Delhi City and also became an Arch Club Society member during her presidential tenure. On the professional front, she has her own packaging solution brand called Adorning Gifts, which specializes in wedding and packaging items. The next second member of the panel is District Governor Rashmi Kulkarni. Rashmi has the honor of becoming the first lady governor of District 3131 in 2021. She is an architect by profession and has been in the field of architecture and interior designing for more than 30 years. She is a recipient of the prestigious Udyogini Puraskar and Ranga Ragini Puraskar for her outstanding work in the fields of architecture and community service. She is a member of the Rotary Club of Pune Parvati for the past 20 years and has been its president in the year 2011-12. She, along with her husband, past Governor Vinay, are members of the Arch Club Society and will soon reach the trustee chess circle by completing $500,000 in total giving. She will be the first serving lady governor to reach the trustee chess circle. And finally, the third member of the panel, but in no way any less, is my friend Saif Qureshi. He has had an association with Rotary from his school days when he was the president of the Interact Club of Christchurch School in 79-80. He's a long-term Rotary Youth Exchange student to Pennsylvania, USA in the year 81-82, joined the Rotary Club of Bombay Pier in 93, and became the president of the club in the millennium year 99-2000. Since then, he has held various district positions in District 3140 and now the bifurcated District 3141. He became an AKS member in 2014 when, with just having donated $10,000 to be a major donor, till then, he decided to contribute the balance $240,000 on the suggestion and request of his fellow clubmate, who was governor during that period, Ajay Gupta. Since then, he has been a regular giver to the Rotary Foundation. Saif is a graduate from St. Xavier's College, Mumbai, and an MBA from IIM Bangalore. He founded his company, Cliffs Power Components Limited, in '92, which is India's largest transformer core manufacturing company. Ladies and gentlemen, over to you, Venki, to moderate this wonderful panel discussion.
Thank you, Ghulam. It's indeed an humbling experience to be seen on the same screen as three great philanthropists of our country. I feel really humbled to be asked to do this job today. Thank you, Ghulam, once again for inviting me to be moderating this panel. Let me, without wasting any time, since Ghulam has already gone through the introduction of the panelists, I won't be doing it now. Let me start with past President Amita Mohidru of District 3011. Rotarian Amita, if I may ask you, you have made a very generous and a significant gift to the foundation in the last Rotary year. And the same Rotary year, you have reached AKS level of contribution to the foundation as well. So that's indeed amazing. What inspired your gift? And of all the charitable organizations that are available to you, I'm sure you would have considered quite a few organizations. Why did you choose the Rotary Foundation to donate? What was the motive or reason for you to choose Rotary Foundation?
All right, let me start with my journey when I took on my presidentship in 2019-20. When I was at the PETS, I happened to, I happened to attend a coffee discussion meeting with, where there were the beautiful couple, Paula and Ravi Shankar, where, they spoke about donating 85% of their earnings to the foundation. And that's when the chemical serotonin got into my system, and I said, I have to get that thing, kicking. Something kicked inside me, and I immediately said, I need to give a part of my earnings now. I mean, I spoke to my husband, and immediately we decided and we pledged to become AKS there and then. And it was like, when I was looking at Raviji, it was like when I said it reminded me of that the story, the monk who sold the Ferrari. So it was like such a beautiful feeling that when you can give and you have it, it's not that, again, when I'm talking and I'm, listening to the leaders talking, they're all telling us about not the amount that matters. It's the feeling of giving that, that makes things happen. And that's the main thing. So when you donate, you touch lives. And Rotarians are known to do good for the world, And another important thing is that the Rotary Foundation gives you this opportunity to basically to take an active part in all the projects you're doing, So you're, instead of becoming just a silent spectator, you're part of the project. Besides giving money, you take part in the project, And as a Rotarian, when we join Rotary, we meet all kinds of people. It is, when using Rotary as a place to do charity, is why I chose Rotary was because it is a very transparent body, and everything is accountable. Everything is accounted for. The foundation gives you much more than you give to the foundation. So I think it's the best, way to contribute is through the Rotary Foundation. Definitely. Thank you.
Amita, from what you say, the one thing that comes out very clearly is that Rotary Foundation helps you to go beyond what is normally called a checkbook charity. It lets you get engaged with the activity for which this fund has been contributed.
Yes.
And second thing which I really like, which I'm sure a lot of the delegates watching this session would appreciate, is the fact that it's not how much you give, it's the thought in you that makes you give. I think that's most significant, the quantum of your giving. Fantastic thoughts. Let me move on to my good friend Rashmi. Rashmi and Vinay are, of course, having very, very old good friends of mine. And if I can add my own personal bit to this, Vinay and I served as governors in the same year. So we have a long-standing relationship and association with this couple, wonderful couple, basic couple from Pune. Rashmi, you have been engaged with the foundation for a long time, for several years. And I know that personally, and have made a very significant contribution in the endowment fund over the years. Now, my question to you, Rashmi, is what made you support the specific fund in TRF, and what do you expect to get out of that, or the impact that your gift will make in the community? What is your expectation on that? Rashmi, are you muted?
Hello?
Yeah. You go on.
Yeah. See, thank you very much, Venki, for giving me opportunity. I strongly believe that endowment fund is the need of the future. My own experience is I am getting around $5,000 plus minus every year as a DDF as returns on our investments, and I am getting matched by World Points. So using this DDF, every year our club is planning and implementing global grant project worth $30,000 or more. So we are using these funds in focus area, disease prevention and treatment. And about expectations, I will like to say that these projects serve the need of society for which we are doing and proper publicity through print, electronic media and holdings also. Another benefit is we are getting these returns every year and which will be get continued even after our death. So I strongly recommend to contribute towards endowment funds. I know TRF's target is 2+ billion by the end of 2025. So just imagine what we can do with such a huge returns on total investment. So I believe in endowment fund, basically.
Rashmi, if I've understood you right, it's about making sure the subsequent years also benefit from the contribution you make in 1 year, the interest and the returns that produces. The endowment fund produces helps you leverage that in subsequent years for different projects as well. That's very, very true. And you are right in the target for Rotary Foundation is $2.025 billion by year 2025. That's the goal. It's a very catchy slogan also. It has all the ingredients of a successful marketing campaign, which an entrepreneur like Saif Qureshi would definitely appreciate. And branding of, or giving a catchy slogan, 2.025 by the year 2025. Sounds nice. That takes me to past President Saif Qureshi from Bombay. Saif, you have been a great strength to foundation in supporting community programs. And I also know that you have successfully worked on the global grant model of the foundation for executing the projects of your choice. So my question to you is, do you think Rotary addresses all the critical issues faced by the less privileged communities? Or do you think Rotary needs to work in additional areas that they are not currently working in? What's your take on that?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to be on this panel. In a country like ours where there's such income inequality, any opportunity of giving is a blessing. And I would like to say that, the joy of giving is much, much greater than the joy of receiving. And you only realize that when you start giving. And until you start giving, you really think that receiving is much more important. But I keep telling my friends who, are a little bit protective about their wealth that please don't be. Please be more generous. And, if God has given you the blessing of being wealthy, please share some of it, because you will really be, you will really not realize what you're missing out if you don't give, until you start giving. So that's the first point, maybe not related to your question, but I really wanted to make this important point. It's like I said, in a country like ours, there are literally hundreds and thousands of opportunities of doing good work. And I think Rotary on a broad level addresses many areas of community service, including health, education, literacy, water, and what have you. One of the areas which I recently found out that is not there in the global grant model is environment, but I believe it's coming in July 2021.
Yes. True.
We wanted to do a project on Rotary urban forests in Mumbai. This year, and basically, Mumbai is a concrete jungle, and the tree cover is very, very less. So we had this very nice model of creating small urban forests by the Japanese Miyawaki method of in about 2,500 square feet. And we wanted to apply for a global grant. We had some corporate money coming in from HDFC as well, but unfortunately that wasn't there. But I'm happy that environment is going to be one of the areas which will be eligible for global grant going forward. And of course, there could be many areas, but I think Rotary is very focused. The Rotary Foundation is very focused, and I think that definitely helps create impact in the areas which Rotary Foundation has chosen. So rather than spreading yourself thin over a very large area, I think it's better to be focused on a few areas which you've chosen where you want to make deep impact. So from that perspective, I think Rotary Foundation does very well.
It's indeed true that environment is going to be the 7th area of focus, and as you rightly said, all well-meaning people think alike. As you have been wondering about environment, I think the trustees of the Rotary Foundation have also been wondering about environment. I've made sure that it's going to be the 7th area of focus. And I really appreciate the statement you made. any opportunity to give is a blessing. How many of us look at it from that perspective, that an opportunity to contribute and give being a blessing? And as we say in marketing, feel good factor is more important than doing good. Very often we say that if a consumer feels good, he's going to come back to and buy your product. It's not doing good comes later, but feeling good comes immediately, and an opportunity to give makes you feel good. Wonderful thoughts, Saifa. And as you know, that environment is then, this Miyawaki technology is being adopted in a few other districts as well, and I'm sure it will definitely add to the oxygen output of the concrete jungle that Mumbai is. I have been avoiding Mumbai for a long time, precisely for that reason. Once these forests come up, I'm sure I'll travel more often to Mumbai. Thank you. Pastor Namita, you did mention that Rotary Foundation was an organization of choice for you when you chose to contribute. While I appreciate that, I would like to know a little more about which aspect of the Rotary Foundation will keep you engaged with this organization rather than look elsewhere. Because we often say that one thing to get a customer, second thing to retain a customer. So which aspect of the Rotary Foundation will make you stay with Rotary Foundation forever? Which aspect? What would be your answer? You are muted, Amit.
I'm sorry. Yeah. First, and I missed out saying thank you for making me an integral part of this the Rotary Foundation Trustee Seminar. I'm really elated, and amongst such great world leaders, I'm addressing. So I've just begun my journey, in fact. But I always say that there's no end to learning. So what I've learned in my tenure of being a president was that the four-way test that Rotary talks about. So is that the truth? Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it bring goodwill? Will it be beneficial? All these things are part of the journey which have taught me that Rotary is the ultimate. It is the ultimate foundation where it is telling you how to go about things, how to execute, and they take care of every little aspect, which is the most wonderful thing. So that is why I said to be attached to Rotary. They have Rotaractors, they have Interactors. There's nothing that hasn't been tapped. Whether it's talking of polio, whether it's talking of any literacy, every aspect is taken care of. And now what Saifji was just talking about, environment. So, there is nothing that Rotarians are not doing today. So why not give it to an organization which is taking it to the helm? And what Kamalji just said, there is no better joy than ending the race. So I strongly believe that you must end it. When you begin it, it has to go on till the end. It should never be left in between. And that is what Rotary endorses. And that is what the end is all about, to create such a beautiful environment, to create peace, to create happiness, and to bring smiles to the people who are not as fortunate as us.
You're recalling the four-way test is something that I'm sure many delegates will like. And as is said, this four-way test is not just about your time that you spend engaging in Rotary, but also helps you for the rest of your life. In every walk of life, this four-way test can be used, and you recalling it at the right moment. I'm sure and you will find it relevant and useful. And the way you mentioned that every aspect of life can be impacted through various projects of Rotary Foundation, and the areas of focus give an opportunity for anybody in any part of the world to be engaged with something that is relevant and significant to that person. It gives a menu. It's like, it's not a single cuisine restaurant, it's a multi-cuisine restaurant. The menu card runs into several pages. So you can choose what you like. Of course, there are restaurants particularly in Chennai, which call themselves South Indian restaurant and serve chopsy noodles. But I don't know. But this Rotary Foundation, on the other hand, is a multi-cuisine restaurant, which gives a wide choice. Rashmi, coming back to you, how well do you think Rotary has met big donors, expectations of big donors like you? And can you narrate one key strength that you really like about Rotary Foundation, and one area where Foundation can improve? We are always looking at ways to better what we are doing. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. I think decision to become member of Trustee Chair Circle with completing $500,000 speaks itself that we strongly believe in functioning of TRF. And as Krishnenduji said rightly, that conviction and heart is there, of course. So we are experiencing transparency, accountability, and efficiency in every aspect. It's low overheads, motivates us to contribute towards TRF. Always I keep telling in my DG visit speeches also about low overheads. I mention it specifically that low overheads. Norms and criteria for global grants makes me more comfortable that our funds are in safe hands. That is another thing. And the only problem that if you can sort out as a RI director, please look into the matter, that I wonder why recognition points are not available for endowment fund owners to encourage them. So that please look into the matter. And area of improvement, one more area of improvement for foundation is that I think we need more education about foundation in common members, especially for foundation programs. And for many, still foundation is fundraising. They make a face aage paise lene ke liye. So that is wrong. And a focused awareness drive about foundation can improve member participation. And I will like to share my experience that we did it for polio on World Polio Day. Absolutely great drive. It was great drive, and proud to tell that with matching funds, we will cross $150,000 for polio from District 3131 this year. So we really made education about polio funds.
Rashmi, you have brought a very important aspect in focus. That is about stewardship, accountability, and transparency. I think that is something that will help the foundation sustain in the long run and gain the confidence and the trust of people who are ready to donate. I think accountability and accountability and transparency combined with high level of stewardship is something that we have been practicing and we will be practicing in the future. And that is something that all donors can be feel happy about. And as regards transfer TRF points to be transferred for endowment gifts. But I was wondering, what am I going to tell Gulam at the end of the session? Now I have something to convey to the trustee, so the trustee can take it forward from here on. As the director, and of course you made a request to the director, but I won't pass it on to the trustee because this comes under his area. And if I were to engage in that, there will be a conflict. So I don't want to get into that conflict. I'm sure Gulam, I saw him noting down as well, so he will address it at the appropriate time. Thank you, Rashmi, on this. Moving on to Saif. You did mention in your earlier response that an opportunity to give is a blessing and it makes you feel good. If I may ask you, if I may take the liberty of asking you this, what have you gained by engaging with Rotary and Rotary Foundation? Is there something that you have gained? What have you gained?
That's a very interesting and a tough question at the same time because until I mean, to be honest with you, when Ajay asked me to become an AKS member, to donate that amount of money, I really didn't know what AKS was, in honesty. It's my bad. So he told me to become a member of this AKS club and all that. So I said, I'm not interested in becoming a member of any club. You know, I'm okay with donating funds, you know. So then he explained to me what AKS was. Because I just knew level 1, level 2. Unfortunately, I have to admit my knowledge of Rotary Foundation was very poor. My bad. So when he explained to me and he said, you know, you'll possibly inspire more people to donate to Rotary Foundation and you know, you should consider becoming a member of AKS. I did. You know, my engagement with Rotary, like Gulam Bhai mentioned, is dating back almost 40 years when I was in Interact, and you know, then I went to Rotary Long-Term Exchange, and you know, I gained a lot from Rotary, you know, personally, and also I think you know, there is very good song which says to make paisa doge wo 10 lakh dega, you know, which is really true. Actually, you know, I mean, I never realized it until I started giving, you know, and what I gave came back multifolds to me. I mean, you know, people don't realize that. Of course, the joy of giving is, you know, the main reason, but also this is the icing on the cake. You know, whatever you give comes back multifolds to you. That's the law of karma, the law of the universe. It happens, and I think all the business people out there, this is a great investment, even from that perspective, even if you don't believe in the joy of giving. You know, I mean, if you invest money in giving, then it comes back to you multifold. So, you know, for me, there's no better place than the Rotary Foundation. like it was mentioned before that, you're not just giving money, but you're also overseeing the projects. You're also participating in those projects, and that's amazing. No other place where you can write a check and you give it and you kind of don't know where your money is gone. Like so many places, people donate money to hospitals, buy equipments, and those equipments lie unutilized or uncared for, and people feel happy that they've given money, but at the end of the day, nothing's happening with that money, right? I mean, it's just gone, and you did something which you wanted to do, but you didn't really achieve any impact in the community. So I think the global grant model, the Rotary Foundation has really perfected it over the years in terms of reporting, in terms of the protocols which are there to ensure that there's a deep impact and all the reporting systems. So I think it's wonderful to be associated with the Rotary Foundation, and what you gain is just cannot be expressed in words. I mean, it has to be felt for all the people who are not, unfortunately, a part of Joy of Giving yet.
It's like saying how sweet that halwa is. You can't explain how sweet the halwa is. You need to eat that halwa to realize how sweet that is.
You need to be married to experience what marriage is all about.
I'm not sure whether that is a right analogy to thank you, Saif. Amita, back to you. I'm throwing you a challenge. If you are, I know you have been in Rotary for a very short while as a Rotarian, but of course as an AN you have been there for quite a while. And let me throw a challenge. If I were to give you the choice of being the trustee chair for a day, what change will you bring about to the foundation? You're given a choice. There was a movie that came in.
The Naik one, I think. The Naik, it was the Prime Minister for one day or was 1 week or whatever. I think it was Anil Kapoor or something.
So you are the trustee chair for a day. So what is the change that you will bring about?
For a day. Okay, there's not much to
take it. If you need a week, I'll give you a week. What is that to negotiate in this?
Thanks, Venki. I just wanted to basically say foundation is just doing great as it is, but there are certain things which need a little rectification, I would say, because as a donor of the TRF at this point of time, we have done 2 global grants. One global grant is being cleared in 3 months, let's say. The other global grant, why for, I don't know, because of the pandemic or whatever, it's taken 6 months, it's still not clear. So I just want to know, there has to be a standard format that you follow, right? If you're accepting, if there's a grant which is similar, why would it take 3 months to do one and why 6 months till now, the grant is not cleared? So it's very important, because people who are doing grant under CSR, they are also answerable. So it's very important to have accountability and standardization. That is what I've seen, it needs, and the communication has to be very clear. If you're giving everything, why is it not coming back and why automated messages? I don't want to be, I'm not looking down on the foundation, but there are 1 or 2 things which I really felt I am experiencing as a TRF, as doing global grant. So that I think needs a rectification.
Some kind of a SOP has to be in place to ensure that.
Yeah, you have to be answerable. You can't have one project which has similar points is done in 3 months, the rest is not done as yet. Why?
Okay, so I'm sure Ghulam is noting down this as well. But yeah, it's indeed.
I've sent him the mail for. I have sent him the mail for that.
No,
I think I put a CC to him, so he is aware of it.
Particularly, Amita, as you said, when you are dealing with CSR funds, it becomes a little more difficult to answer them when it's not done with a certain expectation.
Yeah, because it's time bound. It has to be done within a year, right?
True, very true, and I appreciate that view of yours as well. Moving on to Rashmi. Of course, you are now the serving governor of one of the most important and powerful districts, 31 in India. And you as a governor have led from the front. You do what you preach others to do. You have done that first yourself. So what are your strategies? I know you are in the last 5 months of your term as governor. What are your strategies to motivate Rotarians or non-Rotary entities like corporates to support foundation? How would you do? You have got the position now as a governor. How would you do that? What are your strategies?
Thank you. See, I strongly believe that leaders should lead by example. That is the basic thing. So I announced my contribution on day 1 of my DGship. Even Vinay did the same thing, which helped me a lot to motivate Rotarians to contribute and participate in TRF programs. I am sharing Rotarians what TRF is doing good for the world. It is 4-star rating given by Charity Navigator towards transparency, accountability, and efficiency as well. TRF's great work to eradicate polio from the world. I and my foundation team are also actively recognizing and appreciating our donors on various platforms. Recently, we conducted a small, felicitation program like Generosity Unlimited was the name, and we felicitated like small chunk of people, presidents and clubs also, which in turn is motivating to give even more. I'm also sharing success stories of TRF, which I am experiencing and enjoying through various global grants in DG visits and everywhere, which helps me to promote TRF in my district. And see, public image is very near to my heart. My first 10 agendas are public image of Rotary. So public image forms core part of my strategy, and using multiple channels like weekly audio bulletin, periodical text messages, through which we are reaching to various Rotarians and non-Rotarians with impact making service projects, and we have done and encouraging them to contribute. So that is the key, and I'm getting success. So we are doing well in, except APF, everywhere we are doing well, and I'm trying my level best for APF also.
Sharing success stories is an essential part of extending the chain of donors. I fully agree with you. If we need to ramp up the number of contributors, the only way to do is to showcase success stories, and that's something that you have been doing very successfully in 3131. Congratulations to you as in doing your term as governor as well. Let me end with the last question to past President Saif Qureshi. You are a successful entrepreneur, and Rotary, by and large, even the research surveys have shown, is understood or known as a fellowship club or a networking entity, by and large. So we do a lot more than that. A non-Rotarian would probably know Rotary more as a fellowship club or a networking entity. How would you describe this organization to your business partners and friends? I'm sure you have more and more opportunities to interact with non-Rotarians in your course of daily course of activities. How would you describe Rotary to your non-Rotarian friends? You're muted, Saif.
So I think you're right. DG Rashmi also mentioned that the image of Rotary is the most important thing, and unfortunately, what you say is true. People do think that Rotarians party a lot, which is true. Rotarians do party a lot. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fellowship and service both. Service through fellowship is the motto of Rotary. So if you didn't enjoy being in Rotary, you would definitely not be, kind of doing service. So I think the way I describe to friends is that, normally when you go to any party or you meet any friends, it's only about either you curse the government or you support the government, you're a bhakt or you're non-bhakt. And these are the kind of discussion which you have about the economy, about how good the budget was, how bad the budget was. But with Rotarians, we talk about service, we talk about what impact we're making on community, what are the projects that we are doing, and it's much more meaningful, much more interesting, and much more deeper conversations that we have. And also we are making an impact on community. So there's friendship, and then there's an impact on community, which is really something which you don't share with other friends, and only with Rotarians. And some of the closest friends I have today are Rotarians because of this reason, because we share a common bond, we share a common, kind of passion for doing some good in the community. And I think that's how I explain to people. And people also know that your closest friends are Rotarians, they see that. And obviously they wonder why you're hanging out so much with Rotarians and not with them. And you say that, the reason is that we have something more deeper than a few drinks or food that we have together, So that's a very simple, you say birds of a feather flock together, and Rotarians flock together because, they have so many common things in so many interests in common.
Wonderful. Great perspective. I also, it suddenly brought to my mind as to why am I hanging out with Rotarians? Now I realize why. I've been doing it all these years, but I've never realized why. Now you have put it in the right perspective for me to understand why. Yes, I do hang out with Rotarians all the time. When you are, thank you for highlighting that aspect as well. And I do want to ask a lot more questions, but Ghulam has already sent me the time up virtually. I really appreciate the time all of you have taken to be here this evening and letting us know of various thoughts that go on in your mind and the reasons for doing whatever you have been doing. You have been role models for several of us, and I really appreciate the time you have taken and the effort you have put into this. Thank you so much for sparing your time.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, RID. Thank you. Nice meeting
Thank you,
Venki.
Thank you.
Thank you, Venki, for that wonderful moderating that you did. And what a wonderful panel. And my grateful thanks to Rashmi, Amita, and to Saif. Thank you to all three of you, and Venki, of course, for the wonderful way you led the whole discussion. Thank you. We're now the end of and the first speaker in this session is none other than Director Dr. Bharat Pandya, who, as we all know, is an eminent surgeon practicing in his own hospital in Borivali in Mumbai. He's a member of the Rotary Club of Borivali, District 3141. As I mentioned, he's currently the director and is also the treasurer of Rotary International, which is a great responsibility. He was DG in 2006 and 7, and with the TRF team raised $2 million, which for the first time made an Indian district, 3140, the #1 in the Rotary world. Truly, it was an experience, and I was very fortunate to be working with Bharat when I was RRFC, and we worked closely together. It was the year when Harshad Mehta gave his contribution of $1 million, and Mr. Kumaramangalam Birla gave $250,000. So it was a wonderful way. The relationship that we built up since then has been simply special. Director Bharat is a Paul Harris Society member, a level 2 major donor, and has been awarded TRF's Distinguished Service Award. He was RI training leader twice, GETS chair twice, and also GETS trainer 8 times. He has been a member of the Indian National Polio Class Committee for 4 years. Bharat will address us on the annual fund, Empowering Rotaries Today. Over to you, Bharat.
Thank you, Gulam, for those kind words. Let me begin by complimenting Trustee Gulam for arranging today's Rotary Foundation seminar and for structuring it in such a nice manner. You know, friends, I have been listening to this seminar from the inputs which Director Kamal gave, from the different focus which Trustee Chair Ravindran gave about this peace program of the Rotary Foundation. And I'm not going to mention, because if I mention everybody's name, I think a couple of minutes will go into that. But for all those speakers, from Krishnendu Gupta to the last panel discussion, which Director-elect Venki, Gulam, my compliments to you, the TRF team, and our South Asia office for the excellent way in which this program has been organized. Let's start from where Gulam was introducing me. 3140, 2006-7, we achieved $2 million to the Rotary Foundation. I was the district governor and Gulam was the RRFC for our zones. And Gulam knows this, that our focus was not to create any world record, but from day one, the focus of Rotary Foundation team 3140 for the year 2006 and 7 was on the annual funds. Let me highlight what Governor Rashmi just spoke about. She spoke about her great commitment, leading by example, about the excellent contribution that 3131 is doing in the Rotary Foundation. But Rashmi brought home to us one very important point, that the annual fund contribution is lagging, not just in 3131. Rashmi, it is not just in 3131, it is lagging across our countries, our zones. In fact, not just our zones, the annual fund contribution is lagging across the world. Friends, if this pandemic has taught us something, and I think in the midst of all this change, one thing has remained constant, and that is our commitment to the Rotary Foundation. But as far as Rotary Foundation is concerned, one thing also needs to change, and that is our commitment to the annual fund of our Rotary Foundation, friends. Because it is our annual fund which is the engine which drives the Rotary Foundation. The way the annual fund is going down in the last 4 to 5 years, if we do not keep up our commitment to the Rotary Foundation Annual Fund, let me tell you, in the next 5 years or 10 years, this engine will get derailed. Today, we are at a very, very important and pivotal point in Rotary's history. The COVID pandemic, everything has changed, friends. But let me iterate that Rotary is not defined by who we are, but Rotary is defined by what we do. The potential that each one of us has to do lasting, meaningful service, and the way we realize that potential by doing lasting, meaningful service. I always said that if Rotarians are the heart and soul of Rotary, our Rotary Foundation is the very backbone of Rotary, because much of the good work that happens in Rotary happens because of the Rotary Foundation. And let me qualify that statement by saying that all that good work that happens in Rotary, 90% of the projects and activities that happen in Rotary happen because our contribution to the annual program fund comes back to the district directly through the DDF and indirectly through the World Fund because of the share system, friends. And if we do not keep up our contribution to the annual program fund, we are heading into big difficulties, friends. And therefore, my first request to each and every person who is listening here today, friends, please support the annual program fund, because the annual program fund depends only on the support of the Rotarians. And when Rotarians support the annual program fund, they have a sense of ownership of the Rotary Foundation, that this is my Rotary Foundation. This is our Rotary Foundation, friends. And then the Rotary Foundation work can move forward in a better way. Why do we give to Rotary Foundation, friends? We give because of the Foundation's track record of outstanding work, outstanding projects, excellent projects and service activities. The track record of fiscal prudence, discipline, and sound stewardship practices, friends. We give because we know that our monies are being spent by other Rotarians in different parts of the world. They are being used wisely and well, and together we can do much more than we can ever do alone, friends. We give because the work is done through Rotary's network of 36,000 clubs, 1.2 million Rotarians. Many of these Rotarians are experts, technical experts, experts in global grants, cadre experts. These are the people who can really make meaningful projects and meaningful difference in their communities. We give because Foundation believes in sustainability. Foundation doesn't believe only in giving the fish. Foundation believes that we must teach a person to fish so that he or she can stand on their own feet and support themselves for a lifetime. And we give because what I call, Governor Rashmi, and this is something you can share with your Rotarians when you talk to them, the concept of effective giving, friends. Without demeaning other organizations, when you give to other organizations, you're not sure about how that money is being used. But when you give to the Rotary Foundation, you know that 93 or 94% of the money that you give is used only for the purpose for which you are giving. Ghulam mentioned Harshad Mehta. Harshad Mehta became the first Indian Rotarian to give $1 million to the Rotary Foundation. And Ghulam will remember this, that at the district conference in 2007, we honored Harshad Bhai and Naina Ben, his wife, for their magnanimity. And Naina Ben said that we are Jains. And our Jain philosophy has taught us that what is the wealth which is ours is not really ours, it is just passing through our hands. And if it passes through our hands, through the Rotary Foundation, we know that it will be used effectively, efficiently, transparently, and for the purpose for which we are giving, friends. And you know, that day, of course, Harshad Bhai gave almost $900,000 for polio and endowment fund, but he also gave $100,000 for the annual fund, because Harshad Bhai is also committed to see that projects and activities, not just of his choice, but projects and activities in different parts of the world go on. Friends, when we give to the annual fund, you do not know which person, which community in which part of the world is benefiting. But let me assure you that the blessings of the people who benefit from these grants, these programs and activities and service projects will remain with you for years and years to come, friends. So my humble request to each and every one of you, friends, is please support the Rotary Foundation Annual Fund, friends. Jewish Rabbi Maimonides describes 8 levels of giving, and it is not my intention to describe all 8 levels. Level 8 is the lowest giving, but level 2 and level 1 are the highest forms of giving. Level 2 is giving where neither the donor nor the recipient know each other. But level 1, which he calls the highest level of giving, is giving money or time or resources or whatever else to enable other person to become self-reliant, friends. If you look closely, when you give to the annual fund, you are a level 2 or level 1 donor, friends. Because you do not know who is benefiting out of your giving, and you are helping people to become self-reliant and stand on their own feet. Rotary Foundation annual fund is the power of one, friends. Emerson says, and let me end with these lines, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. That is the meaning of success. The Rotary Foundation is that power of one. One Rotarian, one club, one district multiplied many times over, friends. When you use that power of one to support our annual program fund, you will benefit millions of people along the world, giving food to the hungry, water to the thirsty, home and shelter to the homeless, education to the illiterate, friends, and medicines and healthcare to the sick and the needy. Open that window of the annual fund, friends. And remember, I always believe that significant achievements are never made by giant leaps. Our annual fund does not depend only on AKS members, friends. Our annual fund depends, significant achievements are always made by small, proper, forward-going steps. Our annual fund depends on contribution of each and every Rotarian who is listening to this foundation seminar today. Please carry this message across to your friends, to your Rotarians, to please support our annual program fund. That is my message to you, friends. Please, please, please support our annual program fund. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director Bharat. I think there couldn't have been a better exposition on the annual fund, and I'm very pleased that you accepted my invitation to speak on it. Thank you. I must also just share this information, Bharat, what you mentioned about you don't need big amounts to the annual fund. In fact, 60% of the giving to the annual fund year after year is between $25 and $1,000. So we're really looking at people giving regularly and in small amounts. So thank you again. Let's move on to our next speaker, and he is past President Binod Khaitan, member of the Rotary Club of Central Calcutta since 1988, and he is a third generation Rotarian. He has been a great supporter of the foundation at not only the club level, but also at the district and zonal levels. He's a major donor level 4, and this year has contributed towards an endowment gift in the name of his grandfather. He is the vice chair of Rotary Leadership Institute in South Asia and has traveled throughout South Asia. He has been associated with several industries and is a philanthropist, being connected with several charitable trusts. Binod is a keen golfer and has represented the country. In fact, he has been the chief referee during the India Open Golf Championships held at the Royal Calcutta Golf Club. And Binod, just to tell you, I have another friend in this group. Saif is a very avid golfer, just for you to know that maybe one day when you all meet, you can have a game of golf together. Past President Binod will address us on small steps leading to your goal. Over to you, Binod.
Thank you, Ghulam. Thank you very much. I was really surprised to hear your voice when you asked me about my health and happiness. And then you exploded that bomb. Would I speak at the Rotary Zonal Seminar as to why I regularly contributed to the TRF? You went on to further add that many Rotarians have given one-time contributions, but I was one of the very few who have been giving regularly and contributing to the Rotary Foundation for the last 30 years. And thus, you wanted me to explain why. You further told me that the time allotted to me is 7 minutes and emphasized that nothing more and nothing less. But we are running short of time, and maybe that I have to cut short my talk actually. Since it is impossible for me to encapsulate the 30 years of Rotary Foundation experiences in just 7 minutes, I tried to wriggle out from Gulam. I felt embarrassed to talk in front of such illuminaries, which will be in the foundation. But that plea did not cut ice as far as Gulam is concerned. I made another attempt and told him that I'm not a good orator. But back came the reply that I know what you're doing in the Rotary Leadership Institute. Gulam, you are a really wonderful person. Well, following me is a speaker, which is Manoj Desai. And Manoj is the person who made me a major donor. Manoj, I credit you for that. And that gave me the seed of what I could do. Thus here I am amongst the distinguished gathering, committed to the service above self and make a better world. My inspiration of contributing and participating in the Rotary Foundation is its mission. The Rotary Foundation mission reads, the Rotary Foundation of Rotary International is to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through improvement of health, support education, and alleviation of poverty. Most of my contributions have been used to further the grants program. The Rotary Foundation, that is 3H grants, umpteen matching grants, and now global grants, to support education, alleviate poverty, and through the Rotary's International program, Rotary Community Corps. And I've also been involved in the blindness prevention program recently. Grant projects require international partners. Thus, we know and convince them to give an opportunity to make many friends in the world. While attending over 10 international conventions, stay at their homes and hosting them in my home and visiting project site, thus advancing world understanding, goodwill, and peace. My aim was that my contributions multiply at least 10 times, if not more, to expand the service. In the 90s, with Rotary Community Corps, several villages, mainly in the Hooghly district of West Bengal, were converted into model villages. My club concentrated to make villages Swanirbarta. Rotary Foundation grants with time and talent, which many people have expressed earlier. Many Rotarians and experts saw the existing crop of production going up 25%. This is with an additional crop, incomes of the villagers increased substantially. This was possible due to the training in better agricultural practices, introduction of irrigation facilities, rainwater harvesting, and encouragement of harvest 3 crops per year with improved, advanced, optimum use of fertilizer, insecticides, pesticides, high yield seeds, and growing high price crops. Village women and children were encouraged to keep domestic animals. The plant at least 5 fruit trees and have a vegetable patch. All round dilapidated mud houses were changed into pakka houses. With roads and other paths being made, the income started growing. With the turn of century, my focus was diverted to the blindness prevention program. The story of my journey can take a long time to narrate. Sufficient it would say that my Rotary district is giving light to approximately 40,000 people every year suffering from cataract blindness through 13 eye hospitals, mostly in the rural areas. This has been possible due to the many international partners and the Rotary Foundation grants. All eye hospitals run on a sustainable business model. Recently, 3 rural hospitals have been introduced to do retina detection and treatment. The project has expanded into other districts of India. While contributing to the foundation and promoting grant programs, I use the formula enlightening, speaking and involving Rotarians and beneficiaries, enchanting, making Rotarians and beneficiaries dream and plan bigger, bolder, and better projects, empowering, giving them strength and encouragement to make the dreams true, enabling, being with Rotarians and beneficiaries and understanding their concerns and fear, enhancing with consistency, continuity, and credibility, expanding projects and service both vertically and horizontally. The formula I used is very similar to the Rotary's vision and strategic plan, which says increase impact, expand reach, enhance participation, ability to adapt. I have chosen to contribute to the Rotary Foundation because it has provided me the means to sustainability service towards a better world. Thus, as Gulam has noticed, for the last many years, I've been averaging well over $3,000 every year. Thus, have been recognized as the Paul Harris Society member. I wish and hope that you all take advantage of our foundation and consider contributing regularly as a way to celebrate Rotary service. Every bit will help us Rotarians make a better world. I guess I have been waiting for 30 years for this day. In celebrating of my 30 years in active Rotary service, I request all Rotarians present today to commit and request each and every Rotarian of their districts and clubs to donate at least $30 every year. Every drop makes an ocean. Our contributions, concerted efforts and assistance, Rotary clubs can make lives better in their community and around the world. Yes, make a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Binod. And I just can't imagine how you could have said no. That was a wonderful presentation of your continued commitment to the Rotary Foundation. And I'm glad that you mentioned that it was Director or then past Governor Manoj who motivated you to become a major donor to the Rotary Foundation. So thank you, Manoj. And Binod, I must thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Let's move on to our final speaker of this group. Very, very important. We have saved it because it really shows the essence of what Rotary is in terms of its stewardship. And I am very pleased to introduce to you Dr. Manoj Desai, past Rotary International Director and member of the Rotary Club of Baroda in 3060. He was governor in 97-98. He's the first doctor to become the Rotary International Director in 15-17. Has toured the length and breadth of India many times. In fact, all districts before becoming director and during his term as well. A strategic planning committee member for 3 years when the vision statement was finalized and released. He is currently the member of the Operations Review Committee for 6 years, beginning from this Rotary year. Promotion Team Chair for Taipei Convention. He is the TRF Cadre Chair for the 2nd year when long-term plan has been released. Manoj has been a volunteer orthopedic surgeon in many polio corrective surgery camps. He was RRFC from 2002 to 2004 and I had the privilege of succeeding him in 2004. In 2003, some of you may remember, all districts were suspended by TRF trustees. Manoj and I worked together to assist districts to come out of suspension. The friendship which began then still endures. Past Rotary International Director Manoj will speak on create an impact, take the help of TRF's cadre. Over to you, Manoj.
Thank you, Trustee Gulam. I'm so happy with your kind words. Congrats for excellent program. I think this is a beautiful spectrum that you have created today. For any person, these many speakers, this kind of speakers was difficult. And Binodji, I must convey my sincere thanks to you that you remember कि ये धक्का किसने मारा था. But I am so happy that now it has become a habit for you. And it is only this habit formation that makes a difference. So thank you very much. It has been 20 years. Let me just say to the incoming leaders and incoming DRFCs, hearty congratulations. Not only for your election and selection, but because you are likely to take over when this Corona time will be over. So that is the time to create an impact. For last 10 years, I have been asking many governor-elects, what is your dream for your year? And mostly the answer point to one thing, create an impact. For some, it is membership. For some, it could be foundation. Some think of public image. Really speaking, we are expected to create impact in all the three things, as our strategic plan expects the same. So not only I want to convey my best wishes to you, but also give you a key to success. Many of you would have heard about cadre. These are your friends. They are not inspectors. They are not policemen. They are your friends. Out of 700 total cadre members in the world, out of 1.2 million Rotarians, we 700 are from 70 countries and deal in 80 languages. India has nearly 130, second highest in the world. Probably this year will become the highest. They are committed to volunteer their time, which is vital, to our Rotary Foundation. Having been a member for more than 2 decades and now the chair, I must confess that this has been life-changing experience for me. It is silent but rock solid work to put the principles of sustainability, stewardship, as decided by the trustees. Normally, pardon me for these words, but normally in most of the districts, hierarchy is respected and always past governors are invited to speak in foundation seminars. I urge you, I request you this year to try cadre members. Avail their help. If many of them are not even past governors, their knowledge is vital. Their skill is important for your global grants. Just imagine, you have only 1 year. And recently we heard Amitaji telling that why 6 months? Perfect. I appreciate that frankness, that people lose time. Your year would be over and impact that you want to create would be just a dream. Don't get disappointed. You have got friends in cadre members and they can help you make a good application with healthy trends so that you will save time and be able to create impact in your year only. Now everything is online for cadre. You can avail the list of cadre members online in myrotary.org. It could be district-wise, but still better, it is skill-wise. That is area of focus expertise. Like I am in DPT. This is prevention and treatment. Dr. Bali is also in that. Friends, 2020 brought world to a standstill. But would you believe cadre continued to make useful change and difference like regionalization, online application, online training, and continued training. More than, you would be happy to know this, more than 50 global grants online have been dealt with, and 60 more are progressing well. So 110 global grants are still, even in COVID time, we have evaluated. Long-term action plan is implemented and many praiseworthy achievements are there, like Microsoft Teams now we are using. And this is a site which features unique spaces for collaboration and connection between cadre members, meeting and communication platform, announcements and programmatic updates, document retention and sharing is being done, and calendar and planner, of course, are there. Let me give you a good news. And so many of you would be happy to know this. A word about new area of focus created by Trustee Ghulam and all the trustees under leadership of Chairman Ravi, environment. Project funding will start on 1st July 2021. So start thinking, involve cadre members. New cadre team with 70 members, not 1, 2, 5, 70 members are ready to take off with relevant professional backgrounds and experience. And these are divided into 4 important parts. First is renewable and clean energy. Second is environmental health. Third is watershed management. And fourth is food security. Friends, good results of Global Run motivate Rotarians, members, and helps membership as well as foundation giving. You know about this, I don't have to elaborate. Beneficiaries do mouth-to-mouth publicity, creating great public image. So if you do this, create an impact, all 3 things you are doing in one stroke. And of course, as chairman said, Chairman Ravi beautifully highlighted, not to forget the peace that is at the center. Friends, I firmly believe that gone are the days of lip service. It has no value. World wants results, not promises and excuses. In the boardroom of Rotary International, Bharat and Kamal will remember, Trustee Ghulam has seen it number of times. Our founder, Paul P. Harris's quote is written there. Whatever Rotary may mean to us, whatever Rotary may mean to us, to the world, it will be known by the result it achieves. So friends, it is the result that you have to achieve. Show it to the world, create an impact. And yes, Rotary would be number 1. Friends, I'm well aware of time allotted to me, so I would end by telling you that yes, I am always available to you. But my request is, please avail help of cadre members of your district or neighboring districts and create an impact. I wish you all the very best. Thank you, Ghulam.
Thank you, Manoj. I think that was a terrific exposition of the cadre. And I truly value what you said at the end, is that the cadre is there to assist, take their help. And I know you will be there to assist and lead that team whenever needed. Thank you again, Dr. Manoj. Before I invite Director-elect Mahesh Kodbagi for his concluding remarks and thanks, please allow me the privilege of a personal thanks to all of you for attending. Your presence is a strong endorsement of our foundation. And I really wanted this opportunity to thank Risau Rotary Foundation staff members for making this event happen. I know how critical has been their commitment, and so to Sanjay Parmar for his leadership and the hands-on everyday support given by Shakuntala Raha, Hema Gupta and Saurav Singh. Please accept my personal and grateful thanks. And so to Director-elect Mahesh Kodbagi. He is a member of the Rotary Club of Pune Sports City, District 3131, Governor in 2005 and 6, the same year as our Director Kamal. And during that year, as I said earlier, I was the RRFC and had the most rewarding experiences with Mahesh in raising funds for the Rotary Foundation. He was an outstanding governor, and that has propelled him to being Rotary International Director for 21-23. And it doesn't stop there. In 21-22, he will be a member of the board's executive council and a liaison board member to the Rotary Foundation trustees. He was chairman of this recently concluded very, very successful GETS and GNTS for 21 and a co-convener of the Rotary Institute that was so phenomenally done virtually. He was International Assembly training leader. He's major donor, level 3 of the Rotary Foundation, and a benefactor. He is an entrepreneur in various fields, including hospital, pharmacy, petroleum, construction, and hospitality. He is the ex-chairman examination of the hospital management at University of Pune, and he has been a pioneer of technology advances in Rotary programs. All yours, Mahesh, over to you.
Thank you, Gulam. Good evening, all my friends. What a wonderful program. I was just trying to tag this program today. I just found a word called epic, the journey which creates a euphoria. It all began with the inspirational session. And the inspirational session was given none other by my very good friend K.R. Ravi. He spoke about an entire program of peace education. And it was such a holistic process that teaches us democracy, human rights, non-violence, social and economical justice, gender equality, environmental sustainability, international law, and most important, the human security. You'll be surprised that so many of the Rotarians even now don't know what Rotary Foundation does in terms of peace programs. And I think that was a very, very great insight what Ravi gave. I was very happy to listen on that session. The second session also said, be part of the Rotary forever. Whom can I say? I thought I should tag Gulam as the man to be part of Rotary forever. I've seen his 2 decades of journey, the commitment, and I think the foundation runs in his veins. He is the typical Bawa with the entire TRF in his veins with the quality. And I think even the entire today's program, which has created a great impact, and the session's names, the impact begins with you. I think, friends, you spend almost like from 4 p.m. till now with so much enthusiasm to listen to several programs and projects and whatever the changes are happening. But let me tell you, we have to understand so many insight stories of Rotary Foundation today. Most of it is whenever we read anything that the trustees approve, invariably we come with some discussions and we say, this is not apt for my country, this is not apt for my district, or maybe for my club. Remember one thing, when you think so much globally, there's so many things which gets considered at the trustee meetings. You'll be surprised. Now we are at almost Jan. The December end, we finished more than 1,186 global grants. And so many changes kept on coming up. Some of the speaker must have highlighted you, but let me give you a little bit of statistics. How tough this job is to be on a trusteeship of Rotary Foundation and to manage everything globally. In 2013, we had only 868 grants, which had only $47.3 million. And from 2013 to 2019, I'm talking about less than 6 years, the grants have been shooted up from 868 to almost 1,358. And the budgeting came from 47 million to 95 million. Now you can understand the funding ratio in less than 6 years has almost doubled. We have still not finished the challenge of polio. The last mile has still not been achieved, but polio match funding has still been a very, very critical point right now. We have been talking everything. Whenever we talk only about annual givings or maybe global grants. But right now, the mission which we took in our hands, it's still half-ended. It is not complete. And it's a big challenge coming up that how are we going to really match this funding in future? So many things are keep on changing. The recent amendment you must have heard, I read from so many governor-elects and governors. They told me, Mahesh, can you do something that the club contribution should be matched by the Rotary Foundation? How can we match? It's as simple as that. It's something like a bank, and bank has a credit ratio in terms of debt and credit ratio. Otherwise, it becomes an NPA. If we don't have funds, how can we match? And this is the biggest challenge which is happening. That if your annual givings are coming down, then definitely, as Gulam said, as other speakers said, this is going to affect. And that is the reason I think every penny counts session was one of the very important title. I don't know whether to replace that penny word to rupee or yen, whatever, you're from which part. But I think this is a very, very important subject because most of the grants are coming up under the restricted giving nowadays. The new recent amendment is going to, which has just recently passed. And that is something that the leftover DDF after 5 years, the district designated fund, if it remains more than 5 years, it is going to be incorporated in the polio funding. Now, friends, you have to understand that these DDFs cannot get perpetually carry forward for years and years because it becomes a very, very big challenge. But of course, there's also going to be a very, very tricky situation, especially when you create an endowment fund. And when you have these endowment funds, when at a donor's discretion, when you assign that particular fund for his cost base, and when the cost base is going to be something different than polio, so whether he will be aware that after 5 years, if that is not used, whether he's going to allow us to use it for other purposes or not. So there are so many things which are just coming up ahead of us. But I think one must understand, one must adopt this entire procedure because it is going to be a very, very crucial subject that the policies will keep on changing. The corporate social responsibility policy. India was also one of the most pioneer in CSR funding. We had great challenges in the last 2 to 3 years of time. The CSR financial year, the Rotary Foundation's financial year, the CSR's the admin cost. But now again, recently there is a new policy which is coming up from 1st July, where the new CSR grant again will come up. And I think that will be also very useful to all of us. So my simple issue is, you must understand that adopting changes is nothing, but it is going to be just the way of living. You cannot say that I had this earlier and I don't have this now. Gone are days when we used to say matching grant. We started using a term global grant. We forgot what was the 3H grant and the competitive grants. Now it's the scalable grants. So I think the terms, the conditions absolutely will always change, but they'll be always depending on the funding policy. It is not that everything will remain constant, but your funding will come down. So I think your participation in the programs and of course your funding in these programs is going to make a major, major impact. I must compliment today to all the speakers for giving such a great zest and giving this entire program in less than 2 to 3 hours of time, but covering so many good subjects. And I feel Rotary Foundation's major programs are great impactful programs. It's not going to be a very, very far day that Rotary will receive world's highest award and will be recognized for the best programs. I always talk about, the program and the entire Rotary's image building is only on service. So I always say service is the image of Rotary. And I can talk about these issues with comparing with so many programs and projects. I think, friends, to be very short, I think the peace program and the entire, the service funding program of Rotary Foundation, I think this is a very, very good concept. Just think for a moment, a girl like Malala Yousafzai, so one girl who needed peace in her own country, but still did not stop with terrorism and still continued the literacy work. And this is nothing, but this is the just example of a peace model. You talk about Muhammad Yunus, the great creator of the microcredit model from Bangladesh. I think such a small funding he got it, but he gave peace to people. This peace gave food, water, the shelter to so many millions of people. So small models create a great history. And of course, with our own, concept, no religion, no caste, no economical barriers, a concept of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is nothing, but I can just in the last line say, like Mother Teresa living, you can love through the foundation, you can love through the foundation, and I think you can get the joy of living. Great time, have a nice time. And I once again congratulate your entire team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you very much for that brilliant closing remarks and the thanks that you extended. I'm very grateful that you found, I know how busy you are today, but yet you've been able to make time and be with us. Thank you again. And finally, my friends, to all of you, once again, a very, very big thank you to our speakers, to all of you for attending, our participants, our attendees. We hope that you've really gained out of this, that it's been fruitful for you, and that to me personally, I have learned a lot sitting here and listening to our very, very distinguished speakers. Thank you once again. Good night. Be safe, be well, take care of yourselves. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
See you. Good night. Bye-bye. Thank you.